Bam, bam, bam. Here we go. All right.
We
So
got the wrong person here. We don't want to see that. Let's go. What's this?
so I'm sharing my screen. We need to get
There we
that
go.
into the stream also, if you could.
Sorry, what was that?
My screen is shared. If you could add that to the stream.
Oh, yes, no worries.
Bam. There we go. Perfect. All right. So what I'm going to do here today is kind of walk you through, and as I go through it, I'm going to talk to you about sort of the features, etc. Now, keep in mind that this is still in beta, and what that means is, things might break, and I don't mind doing those kind of demos where things break. It gives me an opportunity to kind of show people what's going on. So there we go. I think that's the view we want to keep. All right. So on my left here is a browser with dApp Starter. It's at dappstarter.dev. So that's dappstarter.dev. And on my right is Visual Studio Code. So this is a beta. And basically, the way dApp Starter works is you choose your protocol. So we have 4 protocols here right now. There's actually a few more, but we've just added Vulcan, and we've actually retooled the whole thing for Vulcan because we didn't have some of the capabilities that are needed for this protocol. All right. So then you choose a language. Vulcan EVM supports Solidity. So that's what we have. And you can choose a framework you want. I'm going to go with Vanilla.js for here, just to keep things simple. And then here's the modular aspects I was talking about. So if you want rebasing, you want to interact with Vulcan core, you check that. If you want to have administrative features within your contract, you would check that. If you want to be able to have a whitelist of which contracts can interact with yours, you can do that. If you want the ability to pause and unpause your contracts, you can do that also. So I'm going to add administrator role here, and I'm also going to go ahead and add. Let's do contract run state, right? So well, actually, you know what? I'm going to do token actually because that's something that you might end up using. So let's say you want to create a custom token. All right, so I'm going to call my custom token my demo, and we'll give it a demo symbol. We'll give it 18 decimal places, and we'll do an initial supply of like, I don't know, 10 million or something like that. All right, there we go. And so you do that, and then what you do is you select create dApp. And when you do that, what dApp Starter is going to do is it's going to go through its paces, and it's going to create a complete code repository for you. So it does that pretty fast. So what you just saw was basically hypergraph in action there. You didn't see it because it happened very, very fast behind the scenes, and it created a zip file for me. So I'm going to go ahead and, oops, I didn't want to bring up my mail here. That's the wrong button. Okay. I'll click on download zip, and boom, we got a zip. There we go. So it just created a zip for us called yummy something unpronounceable. Let me zoom that in a little bit so it's more visible on the stream there. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and unpack that. Boom. There we go. And let's go ahead and load it up in Visual Studio Code. All right. We got that going. And I'm going to keep this split screen view because we're going to need it here soon. All right. So what I'm going to do now is kind of talk you through what we've generated here. This is a package. It's got multiple packages here, and we'll start here at the top. So it's primarily divided into 3 main folders. I'm going to zoom that in a bit here so you can see it better. And what we are looking at here first is dapplib. I want to start there because that's the most important one. And in dapplib, that's where the contracts, etc., that were generated. You know what? I'm going to revise myself and go ahead and full screen this right now. And then later on, when I'm running it, I'll move it back so you can see it better. All right. So in dapplib, we have the contracts that are generated. Now, everything that we try and generate here is, intended to conform to best practices. And we also try and document the code really heavily so that as a developer, you can just get right into it and you know exactly what you're going to do. So we also architected this with a partition of concerns. So what we mean by that is that the application logic you would keep it in dApp, and you would put your actual state variables and things like that in dApp state. So I'm going to just gonna briefly give you like sort of a bird's eye view of this. But basically, what you're gonna see here is it's very heavily commented, and according to the modules you chose, you will see variables, etc. So, for example, this here says access control administrator role. So that's one of the modules I picked, right? And so these are the variables associated with it. And the same thing goes for the token. I chose, I made some choices, and that's what is set up here. And you can actually see that it generated the code for my demo 18, blah, 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 the initial supply, things like that. So you can see here how essentially the code generator has done its job and put state variables, it's put code, and it's put events, things like that. So, and as you go through this, you will also see that the code is very well commented, so that if there's anything that you need to understand, it's going to have that for you. Now, and that's all the contracts there. And one of the things that we wanted to do is to minimize the duplication of effort. Like, we wanted to have a single source of truth within this package for just about everything. And what that means is we wanted to have the front end client application, the unit tests, and a server API, which is optional, all go through the same sort of hub, if you will, of connecting with the backend contract. And in order to do that, we have this concept of daplib. And you can think of this almost as reproducing the concept of a REST API, but within the scope of your application. So the way this works is we have created this abstraction called blockchain.js. Now we have this for just about every protocol that we support. And what we did was actually sort of mimic a REST API. You will see that there's a get here and there's a post here. So when it comes to blockchain, that's basically what you have, right? You can read and you can write. There's no updates or anything like that. You just create a transaction and you can read from it. So what you're seeing here is something that would be intuitively quite familiar for you if you've been a web developer or done any kind of REST API development. Now, you never have to look at blockchain.js if you don't want to, because what it does is it abstracts away all the interaction with the blockchain so that you, as a developer, can essentially say, I want to get or I want to post. And that's what daplib is all about. So in here, what you will see is for every module that was chosen, there are calls to blockchain.get, and maybe there's a blockchain.post, etc. So you can see that this code that's generated is like super simple for you, and it's really designed to make it where you can experiment and do things very nicely. Now, I'll start off by saying that this code is somewhat opinionated, but it doesn't constrain you. If you decide you want to go change it, you're welcome to change it. But we want to actually start you off on the right footing and make sure to sort of, as I said, compress time. Everything we are doing in here is about compressing, all right, time. So that's what the daplib is all about. Now let's move. I'm gonna go back into some of this stuff as we are going through, but we also have unit tests here. So for every module that we have, it automatically generates unit tests. So the idea here, folks, is to create an ecosystem of modules. So if you find that there are, for example, certain types of features, DeFi features, if you will, that are commonly in use in this ecosystem, then we would add that module to DAppStarter so that the next developer can easily crank it out. We do intend to add a bunch of gaming modules because my pet project for this protocol is what I call elastic gaming, and the ability to have games that rebase, and the ability to have things like, for example, weapons that automatically increase or decrease in intensity based upon, being correlated to the rebasing, or your lifespan in a game changes, etc. So we're going to create all kinds of modules over time, and we invite the developers in the community also to contribute modules so that DAppStarter becomes sort of a hub for new developers to build things off. So, all right. So in daplib, we've got our contracts. We've got the abstraction layer for JavaScript for it, and we've got the unit tests. And now let's look at client. Now, client is essentially a UI test harness. So what we want you to be able to do is very easily exercise just about any function in the contract. And so what we've done is essentially create web components, and the primary web components are what I call action cards. So you're going to see those in action in a bit. But the cool thing is that for every component that you've used, we have included a test harness in here. And you'll see here that basically you have an action card. So for example, if I want to fetch the total supply while developing and look at it, I don't have to go to the console log and all that kind of stuff. There's a nice UI where I can kind of play with that and show that and see that in action. So you're going to see this momentarily. All right. So that's the client. And then finally, we have a Nest.js server here, which where you can have things like events, etc., that are wired up that you can handle on the server side. So maybe you have an API that maybe mirrors some content when the events happen to a database, or fires off an email or something for your DApp, and you can do all of that with the server. Now, this particular repo that I just generated is fresh off, I don't know, about an hour ago. And we've been, as I posted in the Discord, we've been working to get the faucet interaction going, so we can sort of fund developer accounts on the fly and do contract deployment, etc. So what I'm going to show you now is I'm going to attempt to get this going, and we'll see if it works out. All right. But when I'm done with that, I want to show you a live demo of the whole thing actually working. So what I downloaded from the site right now, that code is raw beta code, and it may or may not work. But it's fun. Let's go check it out and see what it looks like. All right. So the first thing I want to do is I want to bring up my console, my command prompt here. And one of the things I want to do is because I'm on an M1 Mac, and I know that a lot of the crypto libraries don't work with Node 18, I'm going to say nvm use 16. So I'm going to go to Node 16. That's an important thing. If you want to save yourself a lot of headache, then be sure to do that. All right. And then I'm going to type yarn. And this is going to get a bunch of dependencies. You're going to see a bunch of errors, etc. That's largely because one of the things with crypto libraries is they're just so finicky, and you have to just go with certain versions of something, etc. So it's a delicate balance, as I was saying earlier, a balancing act, but it should work. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do this, and it takes on my computer roughly around 45 seconds or so, and then that should be done. So my goal with DAppStarter is, after you download it, you issue two commands: yarn and yarn start, and that's it. That's all you have to do to begin development. You don't need to do anything else. So this is gonna do its thing. Now, I just realized before I started this stream that eventually, even though the yarn process is complete, I put a post install here, which actually calls the faucet. So it's possible that it's it's working. You see that 16 seconds ago. There we go. So the faucet is essentially now loading up 10 test accounts that were generated. So we are working live here with yarn here, doing its post install, requesting tokens from the blockchain. And there we go. As it's getting one vol at a time, and it's going to load up 10 accounts. And when it's done, it's gonna basically stop, and then we can go on to the next step. So yeah, you can go to testtrace.vulcanblockchain.com and see exactly what I'm seeing. This is live. This is actually happening on our two test net servers that, I'll just remind everyone, are not yet rebasing. All right, so we are still a little we are at the point where, yeah, stuff is a little fragile, but it's still working. So I wanted to show you guys, at the risk of things blowing up while doing the demo. All right, you know what? I know that the faucet is sort of the last step here, and I think we have enough accounts funded. So I'm gonna kill this here, so I can go on to the next step, which is yarn start. And this is where here's what's gonna happen when I do yarn start. All right, I'm actually gonna let it go, and as it's doing it, I'm gonna talk you through it. So the first thing it's doing is it's creating sort of a wrapper application, and there you go. You can see it's compiling all the contracts, and now it's going to attempt to deploy them. And this is the part that I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if we can, if the account is properly funded, etc. Then on the left, you will see a contract being deployed. So this is all live and very, very exciting for me. There we go. So we got some contract deployment happening. I see some gas numbers, etc. Boom! Look at that, live contract deployed automatically. This is awesome. All right, so let's keep going. Let's keep going. It's going to go through its spaces, etc. And then it's going to launch sort of the client and the frame. And this is the part where there's a slight disconnect between the back end and the front end. So it may not work properly. But this is the part where I want to. I'll probably switch over to the sort of local demo. But let's see. Maybe I do know that if I go to port 5001, that should work. Yeah. So the part I wanted to show you with this particular download is the fact that we have got the faucet and the actual deployment part of the contract done. But the UI part is not fully wired yet. So what I'm going to do is essentially close this now, and I'm going to fire up a new project. But my demo was successful. This is the part I was worried about, is will it actually connect to the blockchain, and will it, because I said this is all real fragile, brand new stuff, etc. But it worked. So I'm going to kill this now. And what I'm going to do is close this project. And this is something you can do along with me if you'd like. I'm going to go back here. And what I've done is over here on the right side, I put a little link, Vulcan preview repo. So this is the whole repo, but it's going to work with a local emulator because we are not yet confident about the interaction with the live blockchain. In fact, we haven't done any stress test or anything like that. So I have no idea what would happen when like 100 of you go and start hitting it and things like that. So this Vulcan preview repo is probably a safer bet. So this is going to take you to GitHub, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this repo. So we'll go here, we'll copy it, and let's go ahead and fire up. Actually, you know what? Just before I started this, I already copied the repo. It hasn't changed at all, so it's right here. You can I have it. So let's just go right into it in the interest of time. So we'll go here, and now I can go full screen because I'm not going to show you anything on the blockchain. Actually, wait, no, I am going to show you stuff in the browser. So let's keep that split screen going for a bit. But yeah, so you can get this this code that I'm going to work with right now yourself and work with it. All right. So let's go ahead and do it. First things first, NVM U16. Otherwise, things blow up. That's very important. All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and hit yarn. And this is going to be a little faster because I did do it earlier, but you know the drill. You saw how it works, right? Okay, and then we do yarn start. All right, and now this is going against an emulator. This is running a Ganache, and it's going to go ahead and deploy contracts, etc. But now I want to show you the second part of dApp Starter, which is essentially all the UI and things like that. So we've got the frame loaded up. You can see it's got the Vulcan logo there. And boom, we've got dappiness. So dApp Starter is all about dappiness. So we want to give you that feeling of awesome dappiness. And had I finished connecting the UI, etc., roughly 90 seconds from the time where you hit, create zip, you would be seeing dappiness in your browser. Maybe 2 minutes. It depends on how much yarn takes. But our standard is that within a couple of minutes of hitting the dApp Starter site, you should have a full dev environment ready to go and ready to work. Now, there's one other thing I haven't told you yet, which, well, I'll tell you in a bit. So let's just do a quick demo of this, all right? So I told you there's a UI harness. And, as I go through this, I'm going to kind of show you the code parts that we are looking at. So in here, what dApp Starter does is create a harness for each of the modules that were chosen. So in this case, I ran this previously, and I chose the same two modules. There's administrator role and token harness. So let's go to UI harness now, and you can see that what DappStarter has done has created two cards for us. All right, and in the cards, each of those modules are represented. So imagine a day in the future now where we've created a bunch of gaming modules, etc. You went to dappstarter.com here, sorry, dappstarter.dev, not com, and you made those choices. You created this project, it ran, and bam, you get to this point. All right. So let's run this through. Hit view, and you will see here. This is what I was talking about earlier with action cards, etc. As a developer, you can just get developing right away. Notice right now that there's no wallets or anything like that. And that's because we realize that during the development phase, you go through these cycles, right? The first thing is you got to focus on your smart contract, you got to focus on your UI, etc. And you don't want to be bothered with having to have a pop-up with MetaMask or Rainbow or something like that, and be dealing with that. So initially, what we have is 10 wallets that are pre-built into this. And if you use Remix with Solidity, you've probably seen that, right? But here, the interesting part and the very unique part is that Faucet, it live feeds those accounts, right? But in this case, I'm doing it locally, so it won't. When we ship, I am fairly committed to having sort of DappStarter work directly with testnet. So we'll bypass the emulator completely. So anytime you're developing, you're always live on testnet. You can see in the trace what's happening, etc. All right. So let's actually start using this. All right. So we want to see. Let's pick a user. Let's take Alice, and we're going to query and see if Alice is a contract admin. And it says no, Alice is not a contract admin. Well, let's submit a transaction and make Alice a contract admin. So we choose Alice here, and we hit submit, and boom. So Alice is now a contract admin. Notice that these result dialogues don't go away. That is very deliberate. It's not a mistake. It's important as a dev. I know I want to have a history. As I'm going through this, I want to say, all right, I did that, I did that, I did that. Everything here has been optimized for development. This is taking years and years of development expertise and sticking it in there so you can work with it very, very easily. For example, it has things like a transaction hash. Obviously, I don't have a test trace right now, but remember, when you're building against the live testnet, just copy the transaction hash and you can go look it up in the test trace. All right. So now that we've submitted this, what's the next intuitive thing you would do? You would want to check and see if it actually registered, right? So let's hit view. There we go. Yes. So now Alice is an administrator. What other features do we have in this particular module? Well, you can remove someone. All right. Well, let's take Alice's privileges away and hit submit. We got that transaction done. And by the way, if you are paying attention here, you can see that in the console, you can see the transactions that are happening, the gas usage, things like that. But lastly, let's look at Alice's state again. And there we are. It's no. So this is how you can essentially, when you have modules, we make it so simple for you to test that you can just start building this very, very easily. Let's go ahead and run the custom token through its paces also. This is a standard, what we would be calling a VRC 20, I guess. So let's see view there. I put in 10, I guess I put in 10 billion tokens. And let's get the balance of the current account. The balance of the current account is 10 billion because all of them were put into the administrator's account. So let's look at another account. Let's look at Damien's account. Damien has 0 balance. All right, let's go ahead and transfer some. So we are going to choose Damien's account, and we are going to send over 1,000 tokens. Hit submit. There we go. We got the block number. We got from, to, the value, etc. And let's go ahead and query Damien again. And there we go. We got 1,000. So you can see that DappStarter is designed from a developer standpoint to make it super simple. Now, I want to tell you about the feature that I kind of hinted at earlier. So what we have done is we have wired up everything in here so it is hot loading. Hot loading from the contract perspective, hot loading from the UI perspective. All right, let's watch this in action. It may or may not work, but I'm feeling good about it. All right, so here we go. So look here. This was this in this particular case. I had called it Bob 18. Here, let's change this. Let's make one tiny change. Let's change that to 5 and hit save. That's all I did. Hit save, and now watch the UI. My hands are here. It's compiling, redeploying, and it is updating the UI. Complete hot loading, full stack across the board. So let's look at it. Total supply, bam, my change is registered there. So this is what dApp Starter is going to help you do. It's going to make your life as a developer so easy as you get into it. So right now, our goal, we consider this version right now a beta, and our goal is to kind of converge around excuse me, the Gamma testnet, where we have everything I showed you working seamlessly as one package at that time. Also, one thing that's really, really important that you may not be completely aware of is the fact that we have on testnet right now a preview version of the Vulcan core contract. So the purpose of the Vulcan core contract is to give you as a developer the ability to query the chain for any block number. From there, it computes the epoch, and from there, it computes what the rebasing index, rebasing value should be, essentially the rebasing multiplier. And you have functions like rebase and unrebase, etc. So in your contracts, all you do is reference that one other contract, the Vulcan core contract, and you can design any kind of app you want. So in this particular AMA today, I wanted to kind of just give you a brief intro to dApp Starter and show you what we've been working on. In the next one that I do, we will, regardless of whether testnet is Gamma or not, we will have completed implementation of this particular module. I kind of skipped it earlier today, but you're going to be able to check this module, Vulcan Core, and you're going to be able to query and do things like that. So the next time I do this, what I want to do is build a really simple application that actually uses rebasing within the application. Now, one of the things that we have to do right now is kind of figure out how are we going to support your developer experience with the rebasing protocol where the epoch is 15 minutes. You do not want to wait 15 minutes every time you make a change to see if rebasing works. So that's a little challenging because we want to have the Vulcan core contract to be at that 15-minute sort of approximately 15 minutes. It's actually 180 blocks, so I don't want to lose sight of that fact. So intuitively, I believe what we're going to do is we're going to deploy a second Vulcan core developer version of the contract, and what we will do in there is allow you to configure what you want the epoch time to be. So that would mean you can develop an app where if you wanted to be super fast and you want the epoch to be like 15 seconds instead of 15 minutes, you can do that. That's an important thing for developers, and we are thinking about all these things. There's a ton of work happening behind the scenes right now, and this is actually the point where a lot of thinking that has been done on architecture, a lot of code that has been done in abstraction is all converging together. So this is the point where everything is sort of coming together, and we are the sort of last mile where like we've been actually looking at rebasing and how wallets handle it and things like that. So my role is to advise the protocol team on these matters and the architecture and things like that. So I essentially come up with the solutions, and then the protocol team actually implements it. So one of the things we've been working on is making sure that there is close alignment between the Vulcan core smart contract I just talked about and the protocol lookup table. And we wanted to make it so that there is a high degree of sort of fidelity, if you will, between all these platforms. The protocol uses Golang, the smart contracts, etc., are written in Solidity. The client is querying in JavaScript. Business users might want to look at a spreadsheet. So we have designed this so that every environment you can think of, even though these are large numbers we are talking about, that all the numbers are in alignment and congruent with each other. So that's basically what we've been doing. I really hope you like this. As I said, right now you can go and play around with actually generating the contract, etc. But you'll have to stop at the point where it kind of waits for the UI to launch. That won't work. But if you go to that other link I showed you, which is right here, Vulcan review preview repo, you can do everything I just did. You can test out the UI harness and all of that. So this is all there, and we are sort of in a dev cycle here where there's pretty much going to be a new update or something. I would say every 48 hours or so. This is all very fluid because, as I said, it's all, we are at a point of convergence now. And every time we make an update, we will put some release notes, both in the README here and also in the Discord. So you're aware of what's going on. But I see a comment here about, quality supersedes quantity. And I am 100% believer of it. I take a lot of flack sometimes because I'm like, nope, I'm going to get the quality right, because in the long term, you want high quality code. You want things that have been battle tested, sort of, and are going to be reliable. Because if you rush these things through, we are talking about a protocol, folks, and we are talking about foundational tools. If we rush any of these and you go ahead and create a DeFi app, we don't want problems there. We want the very best outcome always. We want accuracy, etc. So we're going to work on that. So patience is important, but as I said, we are at the convergence point now. Things are there's gonna be a lot of activity, and I'm just super excited to bring all this to you. You can connect with me and chat with me in the Hyperverse channel on Discord, or you can DM me and on Twitter. I follow Twitter quite a bit. I'm at Tech Bubble on Twitter. But let's get the conversation going. And as Big Spite is going to tell you later, we want to start engaging with developers and help you kind of conceive and think of what your app is going to be, and then actually help you build it. So that's the Dap Starter show for today, folks. I hope you like it. Back to you, Jason.
Wow, that's a lot. Like that's I think people's minds are going to be blown with how exciting that is. And once they kind of, the thing is, they can't break anything with this. Like, it's all just trial and error. They can jump on. There's lots of areas where we can communicate and talk about everything. It shows that, developers are going to be more eager to talk within each other and help, like, especially new people. Like, I've seen the community as a whole, they tend to go, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, oh, you could do this better, etc., etc. So I think leading on to things in the future, this is going to be a huge advantage. And what was the cost of doing that? Like, what physical, is there a cost, Nick, for any of this stuff?
No, it's all free.
No cost, which is just unbelievable. So I think that is absolutely huge. Now, one question that we get quite a bit recently, because kind of people are sitting on their toes, is talking about when gamma, which you mentioned as well. But once we take into account a lot of the things, if people were to look at the roadmap, it's just us implementing a few little things, and then you're going to find that not only is gamma going to be completed, if not partially completed, is going to be partially completed with, say, features of Delta and so on and so forth. So, it's not a synchronized, it has to be one and then moves on to the other. It's progressively as things are implemented to meet the final end objective, the final goal, which at the moment is looking nothing but positive, which is amazing. So jumping onto this, we'll add Caitlin Bixby onto the stream. And let's have a little chat. Obviously, in line with development, we want to promote development. And what better way to do that is via a hackathon. So, Caitlin, do you want to give us a little bit of a rundown on what we should be expecting for the hackathon, revamped, reimagined, and what sort of tools and what sort of areas are going to be there to support people that might be going, wow, this is either too complicated, too hard, or maybe they're brewing up brainstorming ideas right now and they want to participate, and what is involved in participating?
Yep, perfect. Great question. So yes, with the hackathon, we kind of want to market this as like the hackathon reboot, right? Because we launched the hackathon back in October, and then we added in a whole bunch of different stuff into the protocol. So we needed time for development, and then with that, we also needed to kind of alter how the hackathon was going to be structured as well. So with this, we're basically going to be splitting up the hackathon into 3 different sections. And then, the Vulcan team, myself, Jeff, Zach, Elliot, we're kind of all in on this, like working with Nick to really like promote this through Vulcan, because the idea is we want more people developing on Vulcan, and the community reaches out to us, so we want to be able to kind of funnel them into this hackathon and make it really simple for people to kind of follow the process. So with that being said, it's going to be split into 3 different parts. So the first part is essentially 2 weeks where, even if you have Web 2 or Web 3 development experience, you may have never come across a rebasing protocol. So it's really important for us to teach people about rebasing, what it is, and how you can possibly integrate it into your project. So with that, there's going to be a test smart contract that people can interact with, which, Nick, do you want to explain that real quick, that part?
Yeah, I already alluded to it, but I'll just reiterate real quick. Like that's basically what we want at Gamma, is to be able to have DAppStarter and have one module in there which has the Vulcan core contract that you can interact with, that essentially gives you all the rebasing data that you need if you're going to build any kind of sophisticated application around rebasing.
Yep, perfect. So then after the 2-week phase of education on rebasing, what it is, how you can interact with it, then phase 2 is basically where we have the support for kind of Web 2 people with like a little bit of experience, where we go into another 2-part educational series on exactly how to use DAppStarter, right? Because like for me personally, I like to, go online and watch videos of development tutorials and kind of follow along. And while I have a fairly technical background, I'm by no means a dev, right? So phase 2 is kind of for someone like me that has a little bit of technical knowledge and can follow along and understand what's going on. That's another 2-week phase. And then phase 3 is essentially for Solidity devs, people who already have all of the experience that can essentially run through the dApps without really needing too much support. And then phase 3 is where we're actually going to be introducing the rebasing function as well. So phase 1 and 2, you're interacting with the rebase kind of like in a local test environment. And then phase 3 is when it goes live. So it's actually going to be on testnet.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really good. I think like phase 2 in particular, I'm going to be really excited to see like our community as such build a very basic DApp, essentially like an application using these tools, and which people can follow along and replicate, and everyone's going to be educating themselves. But also I know like Hyperverse by Decentology is going to be producing certain content, and like everything's going to be supported in this. So I think it just takes a little bit of imagination to really then starting to see what exciting things come with. And the one thing that you mentioned as well with the rebasing, like rebasing is quite generally to implement would be quite a complicated sort of process to do. With this tool, it's just as simple as ticking a button effectively when that rebasing core structure is popped in there. It'll be like, yep, I want this functionality, and then it's just purely up to your imagination to know like where you can go next.
Yep. And I think it's important for people to realize too that that you, just because it's a rebasing blockchain, you do not need to incorporate the rebasing into your actual like product or DApp. If you wanted to have it, so like, meaning, for instance, say you were creating a game, right? And you wanted to create your game on, Unity with an SDK integrated into the blockchain, but you didn't want that rebasing feature within your game. You could token gate it with, say, a membership pass, right? And then your membership pass rebases, and then as it's rebasing, it's creating more rewards. So now you can use that as in-game rewards. Or if you wanted the rebasing actually in your like protocol, you could have it where, it's a game where, who knows, it's like a plant, right? And with every rebase, your plant grows. Or it's a paintball shooting game, and with every rebase, you're reing up on ammo. So you can either have the rebasing integrated in, or you can have it token gated, so it's like an access pass. So there's lots of different options too.
Awesome. Well, that's super, super exciting. Nick, did you have anything else to add for that?
Yeah, I think we sort of did the earlier launch of the hackathon, etc., and we underestimated the tools and the skills, etc., that would be needed. And so DAppStarter is actually a direct response to that. So we've tried to make things way simpler now, because we heard people talk about how the complexity of it, etc. And so this modular approach is a better approach for us to get to the point where we can have community members build modules, etc., and sort of grow this out. I want to kind of just build upon what Big Spite said around, rebasing and things like that. It's really important for people to understand that you can't just take any old existing DeFi protocol or app and put it in here. You got to think from an architecture standpoint, what is your goal, how it's going to work, etc. And in my experience, we're talking about innovation here because this is brand new, right? In my experience, a really good way to come up with innovative ideas for this hackathon and to actually build is to think about two existing things that are there and combine them in a novel way. Like if you look at most innovation, that's what it is: two existing ideas that are coupled in a very novel way. And I think that's where your secret sauce is going to be. So think about that. I love brainstorming ideas, etc. So happy to do that. There's a few community members who we have already talked to, and we'll be doing office hours in the future where we can just kind of talk about your ideas and about how we can bring them to life, and about, more importantly, the feasibility of it, right? Like you start off with a wild pie in the sky idea. It may not be feasible to potentially implement that, but maybe we could tweak a few things about it, and then it becomes all of a sudden very much feasible. And then you start, thinking about the architecture, etc. So anyway, I'm super excited, and I hope the developers in the audience today liked what they saw. And if you did, please give us some feedback. And go ahead and try out at least the preview repo. Like I said, the live thing, I can't guarantee what will happen when you try and deploy a contract right now. But with the emulator, you can certainly walk through its spaces, take a look at the code, and give us some feedback. We'd love to hear that.
I think on that as well, like this hackathon is obviously going to get a lot more like one-on-one attention with the people that want to interact with it. So like you mentioned, there's going to be office hours. There's going to be a lot more chatter. It's kind of like it's all within our Vulcan Discord as well too. So it's kind of like all kept in-house per se. So we're not like running all over the place. So I think that's going to be very exciting. We look at moving forward with that as well. So we should expect to see some announcement drops by Caitlin in the near future. That's pretty much the hackathon is.
Yep.
We wanted to kick it off starting like from the first, right, Caitlin?
Yes. So I think another thing that's really important to mention too is, the hyperverse and the modules, that was essentially meant to target kind of Web 2 developers that had, experience in JavaScript, and kind of use the modules as building blocks to create kind of what DAppStarter is doing right now. But I think it's important to mention that with DAppStarter, there is kind of a prerequisite that you do have some technical knowledge and technical background. So it's not as easy as just, anyone that has zero technical knowledge coming in, pushing two buttons, and, because you still do need to be able to read through the code, and, you need to be able to know how to test the code. And there are some things that are needed, right? So I think that is slightly important for people to know.
Yeah,
So
that's
maybe
right. It's
if
not for
it's something
somebody
that you
like
are interested in.
That's right. I agree. There's not for something like completely fresh, but then people can start off by going like a little like I'd love to see a live stream by somebody in our community that is experienced and going, okay, guys, we're going to create something. Let's do this and step by step, and then people can kind of follow along, learn, and then bounce off that and dabble with it effectively. So that's really exciting.
Oh,
Yeah, if
yeah,
you're,
definitely.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you go. No, I was just saying, I mean, like, again, I'm not a developer, but I've watched hundreds of hours of developing, tutorials and listen to different AMAs. And so it's like, I can look at a contract and I can pinpoint, okay, this, and this need to be changed. But do I, know like the arrays and the Booleans and all this technical stuff of why it needs to be changed? No, but I know what needs to be changed, right? So that means I would still be hiring a developer to do my stuff.
Yeah.
So
we,
Nick, I've
we,
got a,
we,
sorry, go
I just
ahead.
want to make one point here about developers, right? And what stage they are in the journey here. It's really important if you are a junior developer to not think that, oh my gosh, this is so complex, etc. Because DAppStarter is intended to allow you to tinker. You can very easily. You saw how the hot loading, etc. works, right? You make a change, save it, and it does everything for you. Now, so if you're a beginning developer and are not sure where to go, etc., I would encourage you to still enter the hackathon and still I think the joy of going through the whole process, even if you create a very simple one-page app that does some DeFi magic with numbers or something like that, it's worth it. It's worth it going through that exercise because it's going to build your confidence and it's going to help you get it to that point where you have this mental model of I shipped a product. That is really, really important. Now, I do want to say that one of the other features we are going to integrate, not right away, but we are working on it, is in that DAppStarter UI where you can choose modules right now. I also want to have a text prompt where you type in what you want, and we're going to do some chat GPT integration to be able to get a module. Now, ChatGPT really does not do a good job with creating a full stack dApp. It gives you some random, snippets, which may or may not work. But when it comes to very discrete code, it does a good job. And so we're going to leverage that and make it possible for you to integrate that in your application.
So you're effectively making like an AI DAppStarter. That's where we're going to go in the future.
Yep.
So it be even smarter again and be able to maybe suggest particular errors to fix, or you could go, oh, this isn't working, please help me, and it could maybe guide you in the right direction too, which is
so some of that Microsoft's taken care of with Copilot that works in the browser. What we are focusing on is the actual code generation. That's the sweet spot for us.
Awesome. And I don't want to put you too much on the hot seat there, Nick, but in terms of Vulcan Core, like what sort of time frame are we potentially looking at for people to start utilizing that tool? That you said it's not available just yet, but it will be shortly.
Yeah, I would say in about a week's time or so, we will have that updated, so you can check that box and you can start. And like I said, I want to do another session like this where we actually demonstrate it and build a very simple rebasing application. So in about a week's time. Yeah.
Awesome, amazing, something crazy to look forward to. So as you can see, guys, there's tons of stuff happening in the space. Like we've going at the moment, people are going through their Node KYC processes, getting all prepared for that. We've got DAppStarter and Hackathon working simultaneously now to help people within that space. We're making multiple leaps within our roadmap. So, you know, I wouldn't be just waiting for Gamma. I'd be going, oh, wow, this is implemented. This is implemented. So moving forward more rapid. So we're all very positive about that. We're all open-minded about time. Like Nick is, he has a more development mind than us. We're like when product, and he's like when testing. So it's a bit of a back and forth, but we want to make sure that, and I've said this 1,000 times, that it's all about quality. It's all about security. It's all about making sure that the user experience is that top tier level, you know, because otherwise it just results in disappointment and it detracts people from wanting to use a quality product overall. So nothing to worry about that. I got something that kind of like a little spontaneous to present and show a bit too, and this should be hopefully announced in the next maybe the end of today, maybe in the next day or so. Let me see if I can get this to work. All right. Now this is a bit spontaneous. People weren't expecting for that. So those that waited around for the hour mark are going to get a little bit of alpha. If I can get this to work. Why is this not working? Maybe what I'll do to Nick is just send it to you, and then maybe you can send it, because otherwise people are just going to be looking at awkward me trying to figure this out. Oh, that's why. Give me a sec, guys. Nick, if you could just present these pictures to the guys. Okay. Now, there's a little bit of work that, to give people a bit of a background on this, what you see right now is not the finished product, obviously. But this is going to be just an insight of our new app, which will show everything in the future in terms of you know, the firestorm, the rebasing. Like there's a carousel which you'll see with pictures on there, but that's obviously going to be updated and changed for more relevant stuff. These are just pictures at the moment. But if you want to, when you get a chance, just, present those.
Let's see here. I'm getting the images right.
What folder did I put it in? Oops. So this is very, very exciting. Let's go here.
I'm downloading these images.
Maybe, unless I do.
So I've got 5 images. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. There's 5 images there. This is our official like Vulcan app, which, like I said, is a work on progress. So this is pure 100% alpha for those that stuck around on this stream, that you know, want something very, very, very exciting. Shows more stuff that we'll be doing in the background.
Okay, there we go. All right, and open. All right, just maximize my screen, present, share, entire screen. All right, there you go. So I don't know the correct order.
Okay. Any order is fine.
Okay.
All right, cool. So the first picture, we've got a carousel there. Like, just ignore that per se, because that will be modified with pictures and potentially call to actions on our actual product as such. If you want to jump to the next picture, it kind of again starts to show our Vulcan rebasing. This is like a little bit of stuff that I was hinting to blurt out on the Discord maybe about a week or so ago. So you can see that one's you got the vote, you can claim your G-Vol, you'll be able to vote with pools, etc., etc. Jump to the next one. Gives an idea of like your earnings overall, you know, taking into account firestorms and so on and so forth, and then lucky last. That's kind of like your main screen, the next one. So that's your main screen. So your auto rebasing, timers, fire pits, firestorms, fix, like everything's going to be in one beautiful, amazing, neat spot. So, you know, one thing I've noticed is that, in particular, like blockchains launching, you go, oh, what do I do? How do I trade? How do I purchase? What am I getting? Like, it's confusing, right? Like then you're trying to jump onto another website. Then that website is slow and freezing and carrying on. So our goal, our vision is everything's going to be all in one neat, nice place where, and you know, you got an NFT marketplace, you've got everything. So what our plan is to basically action this live so people can see it and dabble it. You won't be able to obviously connect your wallet or anything yet. There may be sections grayed out or locked until that development is done on that area, but it just gives you an idea of things to come. Do you want to show that last one? So a little bit more detail, and basically shows what we're looking forward to actually utilizing. And you can see there that it's very easy to connect, MetaMask, EVM compatible, just all the normal stuff. So it should be very simple. On our launch day, people will be able to jump on there. They'll be able to participate in flags and power pools and all of that sort of stuff, and see when, you know, they're rough, like you mentioned, 180 blocks, so the roughly should coincide with 15 minutes for the rebasing, and see everything in a nice, neat area. So that's super, super exciting. There's tons of development done in the space by everybody on the team. A lot of people asking, you know, are we expecting like delays as such? It's not forecasted. Like everything, we can only do what we can do. So if something doesn't work, we're going to make sure that it's going to work. And I've never sugarcoated that. But at this stage, you know, we're not particularly concerned of that. Our primary concern is delivering the product step by step. If you follow through the journey, follow through the hyperverse, hackathon, follow through with everything that kind of, as it gets implemented, your stress levels are going to be a lot less about that, and more focusing on delivering a quality product with a simple user interface that people can build and, you know, work all together. So I think that overall, at the end of the day, that's like super, super exciting, and expect to see that maybe in the next couple of days to just kind of have a dabble with and a poke with, and we'll just be going from there. But I think that pretty much sums it up. An hour, very good. I'm looking forward to the next one where we can go into rebasing a little bit more in detail. We'll have that obviously either all uploaded in a testnet environment. And yeah, I think that's pretty exciting. It should be like really lighting the fire under people to show, you know, stuff is happening, and making it simple and easy and that really good user experience. And that's where we kind of want to be in terms of all this. Caitlin, anything to add?
No, I think we covered a lot, right?
All right, cool. Any
Nick,
questions?
do you want to share the link in here? People are interested in registering for the hackathon.
Yeah, we can just put it into the Discord. I think it'll be easier for people to get it there.
All right, cool, guys.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I think just everyone just jump on Discord, follow along. Don't forget Tech Bubble on Twitter. That's where Nick's at. If you can't find him in the Discord as well, Big Spot in our Discord too. We're all there to kind of help you out and guide you in the right direction. And, you know, we're excited for things coming in the future. So thanks for sticking around, guys. And look forward to the next live AMA. Vulcan Blockchain. Nick, thanks for coming. Caitlin, thanks for coming. And let's get pumped to see what's next.
Woohoo.
Well, there it is. There it is, guys. Everybody there? Everybody got their mics on?
Sorry, dog was on me.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. I mean, am I completely blown away? Not necessarily, but I don't think that was the intent. You know,
I can't understand you, NR.
Hold on.
And
How about now? Is that
you're too close to the camera, bro? Back up a little bit.
all right? Hold on. Let me see.
Those blue eyes are melting down your wiring.
Yeah, Milky was texting. Milky was texting like, dude.
I will say one thing though.
He texts me for it. He goes, bro, why is NR's face like up at the camera, bro?
Greek, your mic is really loud.
Oh yeah, well.
That's just
How does it
a
sound
big
now?
mouth.
Is it still loud?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems quite loud. I don't know.
We're just not used to you talking. It's kind of like,
Oh,
whoa,
yeah.
it's weird.
Can
That's what
you
it
guys
sounds
hear
like.
me? Okay.
Yeah, everybody
yeah,
else I
yeah,
can
you
hear.
can.
Just
Yeah.
Greek's a
Am
little
I
bit
still
loud.
loud?
You sound good now.
Yeah.
Okay. I had the gain way turned up.
All right, Greek. I know you didn't know what the hell he was talking about, so we're gonna start with you.
Well, that's the point. Like, it's hard for you're going to see the normal people. You know, I say the normal people like me, the non-techies. They're gonna be like, "Yeah, it was all over my head." He's doing all that stuff, and I'm like, "All right, it works. I saw it on the blockchain. Perfect. Tell me when gamma. Tell me when blockchain." But it's good to see stuff in action. I will say
you got an
that.
idea of what he was doing. I mean,
Yeah, I
he
have
was
an
showing
idea,
They've
but
been
that-
working in the background. Yeah.
Yeah, like that stuff was completely. But it's awesome to see how easy it is. Was 90 seconds on Dap Starter. That was pretty cool. He did connect it to the blockchain. That was pretty cool. So it's good to see some things in process. Of course, I would need way too much help to go through that with somebody because I have no clue like what he was talking about. Like I would just click the button, it would create something. I'd be like, okay, now what do I do? You know.
Yeah, then now what, right? So I mean, that's kind of what he was. He was really talking. He was trying to make it seem simple. You know, don't get me wrong. I'm no seasoned developer, but I do understand development. I've built. You know, I've launched a few applications.
I think you don't give yourself enough credit, brother.
No,
I think,
Well, nothing in production, right? But I've developed some iPhone apps and some Android apps. You know, so I see what he's doing, right? I appreciate that, NR. You know, and I know a little bit of Linux. I'm not super versed, but I could definitely break something. So what I see the Dap Starter, and it's if you really want to get in, I think first of all you're gonna want to have a passion to launch an app and to actually build your own app. So you're gonna have to. I mean, this isn't automation. This isn't automation. This is more of facilitation. So it's a place to start, and and it's got the buttons you click, and then talk specifically the rebasing mechanics that gets thrown into the code, which is cool, right? You don't have to do it yourself, and it does. It definitely. He's talking about the harnesses. So not to get too technical, it's cool, man. I like it. It's not. If you go to the actual Dap Starter, if you look at it, it's not just been on Vulcan. It's Ethereum, Polygon, and Avalanche. So others are using it, which is cool. Which means it works. It's proven. That's cool. It's not like Vulcan's the first one to do it, which I'd be okay with too, because then can be like Vulcan's the first. But the fact that there are other chains using it, at least it's used on other chains based on the site, that gives me some assurance that it can certainly work. So yeah, you don't have to be super technical to launch an app, but once you get it down into your code application, Xcode or Visual Studio, whatever you're using, that's when it turns to Greek. No offense, but it's all Greek. It's all Greek to me, man. But it doesn't mean it's not doable, guys. And that's what I'm talking about. It all comes back to passion. Those that love to code, they love to code. They get off on this shit. I mean, that's what it's hard. It's not easy, but they love the challenge and figuring things out. And there's a lot of math involved, and but this is definitely a damn good place to start. So what I'm interested in seeing is I'm as far as the community now that see this tool, I bet you they're going to be playing with it tonight, next few days, and then moving along to Hackathon. I'm curious to see what not what projects come out, but the devs that hopefully come out of the woods, and they actually start using this and launching some apps. That's going to be exciting. I'm going to be playing with it, for the next few days. I'm going to see what I can come up with.
You're talking about the DApp, right?
Yeah, the DApp starter.
Where's the DApp though?
Chris, you got one job, bro. You got to shut that guy down. We start.
Have you seen
Talk
the
about
DApp?
the DApp starter. No, but
There you go, Kryptonian.
thank you. Tired of that guy, man. Him and his freaking
Tired of him.
him and his blue eyes, man. Tired of that shit.
His golden chalice.
Don't hate,
It's
brother. Don't hate. Don't hate.
Well, it's funny because when the mics are off, he
step
gets
up.
all close and he wants you to look at his eyes, and then he gets all close and shit. There it is. Stop, bro.
Making you fall in love, aren't I?
No, I can see the back of your head. It's kind of weird,
I just got my hair cut.
Yeah, I actually need one.
Man.
All right, so that's enough of my rant. What do you think, Greek? Okay, man. Your tat looks sick. I like your tat, bro. It looks good. It's looking good, man.
No, it hurts with the sleeve on, so
Yeah.
fresh.
Well, if you throw muscle on the arms, it doesn't hurt as bad. That's what I was on told.
There's something.
Get some sleeves, bro. It looks good though, man. It looks good. Yeah. So, all right. So you not being technical at all. What was it? Overwhelming? Was it just not your wheelhouse? Do you think
It's not overwhelming. What helped is seeing Nick's excitement about it. Like when it kicked over to the blockchain and like kind of that like developer excitement, that got me excited because he's excited. That's progress. I want to see progress. That's what I was looking for, and I saw it. So that's a good thing. We didn't get our question when gamma, but guess what? We saw the DApps that are supposedly in stage 5 already being basically finished. He just basically showed you all the claim DApps and all that stuff. So a lot of things that after this stage are already being developed. So gamma is not as important. It's more getting the hackathon started, getting the developers in to really, that's what makes the blockchain, is all that development. So
sure.
It's interesting.
Yeah, you definitely want some projects to launch, right? And they're going to actually test the theories because it's all theory right now, right? Just like gravity, right? It's all theory, bro. It's all theory.
Don't get me started.
No, but in all seriousness, gravity is a theory. I'm serious about that. No, but moving along. It's all theory until we get the developers in there. They start crunching the apps, breaking shit. That's when when we got something special, right? So until that happens, I'm looking forward to that. That's what I'm looking forward to. Yep. I see a question I got that I want to address here. It's from Journey James. This is relative to Property Flex. He says, have any emails been sent out from Property Flex site? Yes. If you've been on, if you submitted your email address, you should have received some sort of welcome email from the team saying, hey, welcome. Look at Rick's face. Check your email, bro.
Deleted that email.
Yeah,
Well, I didn't get the welcome email.
Yes,
but I
check your
got
spam. Check your spam. Basically, it's just a welcome email. Oh, thanks for subscribing. And it's kind of a prelude, or it's going to be setting you up for the next email that comes out, which will be, here are all the social links. Welcome to the socials, how to go and verify and all these things. And of course, where we are on the project moving forward. So if you guys don't know what we're talking about, if you go to propertyflex.io, there's just, we made it very simple for you guys. There's one place to put your email address. I'm asking for your name, your phone number, your address. We're not doing anything like no KYC on this. We're not doing that. It's DeFi. All right. I just want a place to be able to send you some news. That's it. All right.
Oh, you didn't need KYC.
What's
Use
that?
the scroll mail.
Kryptonian, I didn't get a welcome email. I checked my spam, but I did get an email in the middle of the night that the light paper was out.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
what
get
it
a
was. That's what it was. I'm sorry.
That's what it was. Yeah. That's what it was.
Well, yours is probably just like, hey, bro, the light paper's out, right? Is that what it said?
No. It's an informative one. It was actually.
It's from Property
I'm
Flex,
sorry.
basically just saying, hey, the light paper was.
Yeah. Well, Chris
on
comes from that
GitHub.
generation. He's expecting some sort of fruit basket,
I wanted to.
Hey, now watch it.
Oh, don't do it, bro. Don't do it. You son of a. Don't do it. I know what you're going for, man.
Dude,
Using the
that was
button.
good.
What email did I get?
There you go.
Hey.
Guys, just so you know, Plan B is in the house. He's in attendance, so he got off of his live and joined ours. Little does he know we were streaming his live on our live.
What's up, Plan B? Thanks for joining, buddy.
No, we were following a Prado, putting a live within a live.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
alternate
The live in the
universe.
live. Yeah,
No, just a commercial. Just need a commercial would be like Crypto Pride.
right.
You guys should have done the
Spritz.
breaking news that Plan B's in the chat. You should.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
but
need,
you already know NR, man. He knows shit. He just likes to throw it in there. He doesn't prep nobody. He acts like he doesn't know. And you find out after you break the news, he already knew. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
man. Sorry.
yeah, just destroyed people's thunder. man.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
Just take
Sorry,
just
man.
NR always
I can't-
acts surprised when I tell him things, and he
I
knows.
can't steal your thing, Chris. Your thing's the breaking news. I can't.
Yeah,
steal that.
you got
You
literally
know
got a
what?
video.
Yeah, I can't.
That's
I
your
can't
thing.
even. I can't eat is in the chat. That is our
love
breaking
that.
news.
Love that.
I thought it was gonna be
There's
an
There's a
AMA.
new breaking news for Sunday night. Just saying. There's a new one. You have to tune in. To
A
watch.
new one. All
A
right.
new one.
Exciting.
Did I miss it, or did anybody get to ask a question?
About what?
No,
I don't think they did a question and answer on their live.
Oh,
It was
AMA
just,
was
hey,
on. They're just talking about it then. Okay.
No, he's sending them over to the Discord. I mean, it's some of the. I agree with that because some of the questions I would be like, my
I
eyes were glazing over.
I had,
anyway.
guys, if you recall, I had questions, and Nick was like, hey, bud, just send
stop
me a
being a
message.
smart ass.
Yeah, stop being an asshole. Right there. I apologize. I apologize.
That was a
for
nice way.
I know
putting
you
it.
did, man. I know.
But,
and honestly, I think that and I'm, you're my dude. But honestly, at the end of the day, that speaks to your character. That you reached out to the man afterwards.
I appreciate
You
that,
said, "Hey, man, I wasn't trying to be a smart ass,"
definitely,
and
man.
that's why I love you, brother. That's why I love
Appreciate
you,
that,
man.
man. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
I think
NR.
he's trying
That's
to
some
make
real
up for
man
that.
shit right there. You know.
Yeah, Chris.
Right, he's just trying to make up for stealing your thunder on the breaking news. Man. That's it.
Yeah, well, he did steal my thunder, man. It's like,
I
nah,
need
Chris,
to steal that.
I got some alpha news. And she's like, nah, I don't know anything. I just
He's
got
like-
here. I've been having a day at the office. It's like, oh, yeah, I already knew
Yeah,
that shit.
Yeah, I already knew.
You actually said it wrong, Kryptonian, but it's all good. I'll just go ahead and come back out, dude.
You know what? Actually, that's being a good friend because he didn't want to steal your thunder right away. Wanted you to be happy about
Do
it.
your thing,
So,
man. Do your thing.
Is that what that was?
yeah. So let me tell you. I'll tell you what I think about everything. I think that Nick, he's on a different level than I am, and I think I kind of feel like I was kind of like Plan B when Nick was doing his presentation. He was done. Plan B, I just got the impression that Plan B was like, wow.
He was just
Okay.
you're just like, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
Yeah, You saw it. Yeah.
I texted
I
NR
was gonna
during
do
the
something, man, but I'm
presentation.
not gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
texting NR during the presentation saying, "Wow, now I know what it feels like to be completely dumb."
Yeah.
It's great though. I mean, what he showed us. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about that stuff,
Yeah.
but I imagine if I did, and a lot of people that were in the chat and they were watching there, they are probably.
So I reached
pumped.
I reached out to one of our devs that's working on Prism because I'm interested in some coding. Like since I'm in that space now, I'm it's moving along. I'm interested in it. So I asked him. I said, so somebody with no coding experience, which is myself, where can I get started? And he sent me over a bunch of information. So if any of you gentlemen are interested in what he sent me, as far as a good starting place to understand some coding and some blockchain and things of that nature, I'll be glad to share it with you guys. I sent it to you, Kryptonian, because you asked for it. So
Whoa! I see some of my feet pics or something here.
Dude,
Oh.
what are you sending him?
We may have breaking news, guys. May
Oh,
have
shit.
breaking news.
All right, Journey. This is what an email looks like. You got to get off your phone, bro. If you actually go to a
stay off of
computer-
Pornhub, bro.
Yeah.
Well,
but it-
evidently, that's where Kryptonian's at. He's getting
Right.
feet pics from him.
Bro, we had one talk about that. One talk, man. And I see how it is.
You send one.
I don't need to go to Pornhub, bro. I got me a beautiful wife is waiting for me. See you guys later. So guys, if you actually look in your email from Property Flex, this is basically the email that you got. You'll see Property Flex. It's just a thanks for submitting your email from Craig Milky. Look for this, guys, and it'll look similar to this, guys. That we're talking
Yeah,
about.
I deleted it. I'm an idiot.
Journey said he got it. Journey
like-
said he got it.
Oh, good. He's giving me
Yeah,
shit.
that's
I'm
what
bad Greek. I
Yeah.
deleted it.
part of
It's
it,
actually
message.
good you delete it because hey, it's always inspect what you expect, but and Greek, you never expect anything, so it was probably
We have breaking news. Breaking news for
Oh,
real.
I
This
told-
person is in the
What's up,
house.
Plan B?
Hey guys,
What's
how
up,
are
Plan
you?
B?
What's going on, bud?
Good,
What's up,
man.
man?
Good.
Hey man, thanks
Now
for
that's good
tuning in.
use of breaking news right there.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning
Thanks for
in
being
while we
here,
were
man.
tuning in. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
think
it.
I just
Well, I've got
saw
the
you.
camera all warmed up. At least I'm not in control of this thing, so I'm not going to break anything. So that's all good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is kind of nerve. I get kind of nervous.
It's racking, brother. Nerve wracking.
Nerve wracking. See, I'm nervous right now. trying to kill the.
So happy I can't control the comments.
Yeah, man.
That's the thing with management. It's called delegation. You
Yeah.
can't
Yeah,
handle
but,
it.
but look what I got to work with. Look at this guy right here. This guy right here next to me falls.
He's gone, dude. I am sick and tired of listening to this.
Chris Cruz only works one night a year on Christmas. I mean,
You show a guy how to use a mouse, and look what happens. Plan B. You know what I mean?
Terrible.
You know what? Oh, never mind.
He's gonna kick us both
Hey,
out.
that was a good live. Plan B. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, that was good, man.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, I remember.
Yeah, it's a little bit tech heavy, but like I think
Just a
it
little. Huh?
drives the message across that things are happening, and I think like it's only kind of like a little bit daunting because it's so new. It's like a lot of people haven't seen these sort of interfaces before, potentially all that sort of stuff. So I think like once people start developing like let's say Nick goes on, creates a very basic thing where people can follow along and do it on their own. And then it's kind of like, it's like a person that's been using Windows for forever and is jumping to a Mac. It's still the same, like it's going to be relatively easy, but it's still going to have a slight learning curve. So it's exciting because generally speaking, the entire process without this is very long-winded, very, very data heavy, very a lot of opportunities to make mistakes. And with this and then implementing AI in the future on top of that as an additional layer, then that's going to be really opening up the world where people can start developing. And kind of like those guys that go, oh, I wish it was better. Well, they can just make it. They can go, well, I'm going to make a better version, and traditionally speaking, better versions have been like, say, Titano or whatever, and then they're trying to revamp it and make it their own special touch. But now we're getting that next level, where you can actually have that full creativity. So the way I look at it is, and I mentioned it with the hackathon and stuff, it's all reimagined. What can you create? Which I think is really exciting.
Yeah, I'm hoping this certainly light the fire, as you said, under a lot of people that either want to start getting into development, are developers, and I've got some development experience, not a lot. I've never put anything into production, but I've done a lot of sandboxing, as far as developing. So I'm very familiar with it. So as I'm watching Nick go through the steps here, he's going. To me, he was going the right pace, the right cadence, but everybody else is like, slow the hell down. That doesn't understand what he's talking about.
Yep.
But I do like the fact that as he deployed the app, it worked. Nothing broke. Remember, he warned us it might break. It didn't.
Yeah.
He was able to launch it, and of course, he showed some.
That would be a 3-hour stream. Like essentially, he wanted to just showcase that it can be done. It was like a little bit maybe faster paced than generally.
which is okay. Which is okay.
But,
there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
at the end of the day, you click a few buttons, the main code is done within like say 90 seconds, and this was done on our actual testnet. So this was all actually live. It wasn't done as like something that's simulated on his computer or like an emulator environment. These are all transactions that are happening. So once we flick the switch for, like the rebasing portion of the testnet is all, it links in with multiple different areas. So you can't just turn it on. We kind of want to turn it on so that everything kind of coincides together, so one piece isn't left behind. So yeah, it's kind of, and then effectively we've proven the actual concept, and then we're just moving forward to effectively, we've got to implement the nodes on it, and then the Firestorm and Fire Pit and all that sort of stuff, and then there's your mainnet. So
It's moving right along.
very exciting, very
Yeah,
exciting.
no, yeah. I definitely see some things some boxes being checked. I think it was a good thing talking. I remember, I think it was maybe it was Brian or yourself when you were talking about the hackathon. You may have prematurely shot into the dark with, hey, we're going to launch hackathon without without any of the devs actually being able to test.
Traditionally with a hackathon and stuff, because everyone's making something on a very basic, like a standard EVM sort of stuff, when they develop something, it's not taking into account rebasing. So developers were kind of getting stuck with that because they go, we want to make something that's implementing the tools of rebasing, but we don't have a rebasing thing there for them to actually do. So now it's going to be a lot easier because they will be able to essentially just go there, compile a code, tick a box, Vulcan cores, add it in there, so then they can modify everything. So I remember, like in one particular stream, like people got a little bit confused with it and going, "Is Vulcan core a smart contract?" It's a smart contract in the sense of reporting back. It's the actual rebasing is in the actual blockchain itself, but people have to know where they are, where they stand within that blockchain, or what block they're on, what data is accurate. Like what rebase should they be expecting at one particular time. So that core is basically a read function to give a report back to say how things are working, and that was a very important tool to implement. Otherwise, people again would be stuck at a particular roadblock. So we're trying to prevent sort of like effectively user error. And when you start developing tools, like generally speaking, your people are investing money into that. So
right.
Who are they going to blame? Are they going to blame you? Are they going to blame Vulcan? Are they going to blame both of them? And it just
blame Nick.
Just blame Nick. Blame Nick.
You can't be mad at that. You can't be mad at that guy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Smiles,
he's always got a smile on his face, man. He's
every time he smiles, I feel like it's my fault.
Oh,
Like shit, I messed up.
Yeah, like that's what Greek was saying, man. Yeah.
The last 4 to 6 weeks in particular have been very stressful in the sense of like there's been a lot of head down, bum up, doing real work, and it's fun to see Nick now starting to get even more excited, more happy. You can see it in his face, like true emotions, and this is coming from a very developer. Like his mindset is not necessarily finance related. It's like some people are very finance driven. His is a very much about what can you make, what can you build. Like the thing is, like people think of rebasing as making things go up, but in an application you can also make things go down. So for example, if you had an avatar and it had a gun and that gun was like shooting things, as rebasing time comes by, if they don't meet certain KPIs, for example, that weapon could become less effective. So there's different areas of ways that you can look at things of how things can go. And that's the same with NFTs, for example, right? A lot of people are building up NFTs saying you need to add this particular function in order to become more powerful. But what if you had an already powerful one and then it started to depreciate its value over time, not in terms of financial, but in terms of ability. And therefore it needs like little boosters or something to regain its health, for example. So it really opens up a can of worms of what can be built and what can be developed by just changing a mindset just a little bit.
I like that aspect. Yeah. And you could see when Nick was talking about the gaming, he kind of lit up just a little bit extra when he started talking about the rebasing in the gaming space. So you could definitely see that. And like Greek said, just the feedback off of Nick, his body language and his whole attitude was positive, man. You can't not be positive coming away from that guy. So yeah.
Well, gaming, you can look at Vulcan blockchain as many different areas. You can look at it as DeFi. You can look at it in a whole bunch of different genres per se. But gaming is one area in particular that we want to be able to provide the tools for that, again, allows easy adoption because you know, just to look at Brian and myself, for example, like as soon as something comes out, whether it's a silly little Flappy Bird or something, we either want to break it or play it, one of the two. So, you know, we enjoy all that sort of stuff. And when people develop new, exciting, interactive things, you know, you can see us getting hyped by it. And I think when more and more people come on board and see the true potential of this, it's going to become a very exciting space. And whether it's, I'm not particularly fussed per se if they build on multiple chains, that's fine, whatever. That's really, really good too. But I would love to see how rebasing, native rebasing, is going to change the dynamics of a game. I think that's going to be really cool.
It's definitely an incentive, right? If you think about it, it really is. You know, especially when it comes to gaming. So yeah, it's definitely to me it's sugar on top. You know,
I mean, even simple things like you could have like a Tetris game, for example, right? And as you earn points, that could be bonuses, and they're rebasing as they're going. Like, there's so many opportunities there. Like, it's just a completely untapped world. You know, we're the first of a kind to develop and do this and implement it, and that's why you can see as we get. I think by the end, when it comes to main, Nick might just combust into flames because he's just going to be so excited by all of this. So I think it's really
smiling while he busts into flames. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jason, was that tool there? I mean, I get it. It's put there, and I think somebody made a comment earlier that it takes some of the mundane tasks of developers and just cuts the time down. But was it also mainly there to help developers just easily implement and use the rebasing function and get to Vulcan, the Vulcan rebasing at its core? Is that kind of what that tool was there?
There is a section that's grayed out currently that it showed, which is Vulcan core. So to implement rebasing, it's going to be as simple as ticking that box, adding that to the code, and then you can choose how you wish to implement that.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of one of the things that I took away, and I think that, especially for developers that aren't familiar with rebasing protocols and obviously blockchains, because this is the first of its kind like this, that'll definitely cut the time down and I'm sure help developers get to where they need to go.
Yeah. It's
because truthfully, there's developers that have not actually had to develop something like this or develop an app. So you guys assisting, helping along the way, or giving some sort of module they can click a button. That's definitely beneficial.
Yeah.
Oh, what's up, Fowler? What's up, Fowler, buddy?
Fowler.
Hey, turn off your. You probably got something on your gaming computer.
Bit of an echo happening, yeah.
Get on your work computer, bro, because you're like your feedback.
A little feedback there, brother.
Jason, I got a question for you about the development of the Vulcan blockchain. So when you guys have hit many milestones in the process of doing this, when you've hit some of these things that you guys had planned out, did it exceed your expectations? How'd you feel about it so far with what you guys have done? Was it something that you were like, I was expecting this, or were you thinking, you know what, we exceeded our expectations with this?
I think if anything, we've actually pushed the boundaries a little bit further. There's a lot more shortcuts that we could have taken to speed it up effectively. Like, we could have maybe developed some stuff a little bit earlier, but in fact, we've pushed back. For example, if you wanted to implement smart contracts or something like that and have that rebasing ability, that is always an option. Oh, we could just do that. But it was like, we'll just sit back down and go, no, we want to do this properly. We really need to sit back to the drawing board and nut that out per se. And there's multiple different aspects from creating it and reporting it. So I think overall we are, it's kind of half. Like, all of this, because we've been working on it so closely, it's what we expected. But then there's other stuff like Nick demonstrated, which has exceeded our expectations, and that's just complementary to the amount of work that they have put into it. Like, some of these guys do 24-hour coding crunches where they just get on a drive and they just smash it out. It's like if you were building a website and then all of a sudden you started at 9 in the morning and it's 4 PM, and you're like, holy crap, where did the time go? That's what it's like for them. So, you know, there's a little bit of a sense of urgency per se, like we're always applying that pressure, but at the same time, they're applying the pressure of quality, you know, so it goes both ways where we have to kind of negotiate in the middle. But I think overall, like, we're very excited what's to come, and what we're building, and what, like, I think it's just harder because we have to kind of contain it a little bit. Like, for example, I gave some teasers of the new D app, and it's literally it's not ready for people to use per se. And you know, I'm applying pressure to certain people on a almost hourly basis, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to rip the band-aid off, show what is kind of there, but then also I'm setting that expectation of don't be so critical of stuff, because, you know, at the end of the day, it's not a completed product yet. Just like anybody. So
yeah, you got to set up the UI. I get it, you know, and you're kind of giving, those are all ideas, and those are you would like to show everything that
a lot of the stuff is already pre-done per se. It's just neatening it up and tying it all together.
Okay, well,
and
that's good to know. That's good to know.
We need it on the actual test. Like, for certain things, we need it to be actually tied to the test net in order to work in general. So
here's a question for you, Plan B, from Biz Entertainment. Thanks, Biz, for the question. Plan B, will there be a separate D app for node holders for fee claiming, or we have made it automatic? So how's that going to work for the node holders?
I haven't seen the inner workings of that yet per se, but from my understanding, I think it was like something as simple as a .exe file in that sense for particular node stuff. So light nodes and full nodes will have different characteristics, but, you know, I would expect that obviously there's got to be a portal for node operators to maybe visually see, you know, how they're operating on the nodes in terms of latencies and all that sort of stuff. And then in terms of how much rewards they've generated and so on and so forth as well too. And I think that's going to implement in terms of, you know, obviously only KYC people are going to be able to access these tools too. So I think there has to be some sort of portal there in that place, but it's not something that I've physically seen as such. That's something the development team is kind of working on.
So will that be like a verification with the node NFT in your wallet from the KYC team?
I would imagine so. I mean, like, there's got to be that some sort of security aspect of it. But then again, I personally haven't run nodes on other exchanges. Or sorry, not exchanges, but other platforms.
Blockchains.
So
Yeah.
I don't personally have experience on that per se. But I know that they want to make it as simple and user effective as possible. But there has to be that security layer too. In the sense of, you know, limiting interactions with something that's an actual, it might be just kind of like a set and forget sort of tool as such. But we do have like quite a lot of stuff working in the background, which I kind of can't go into, that are going to be tied in with that, which is something to be excited with. But as much as
we can just end the live. We can talk about it. Hold on one second.
Yeah, you want? Yeah, we'll just the broadcast.
All right, bro. It's ended. Go
Thanks
ahead.
for joining, people. Thank you.
Hold on, Greece got to give his last words.
There is a little alpha that kind of ties in with that, but it's not something I'm at liberty to say right now. But I can assure you, it's big.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So the question on everyone's mind: when Gamma?
When Gamma? Well, you know, if anyone's going to get it, we're going to get it first, right? We're going to get our Gamma first because we're just simply ahead in the time zones. So if you want to be that next step ahead, then maybe I suggest you come to Australia and visit us.
There you go.
That's sad but true.
Mom, Gamma.
Yeah.
But I would be honestly like, you know, Gamma. When you take into account like even some of the stuff that we even showed today on the AMA, I look at the roadmap and I don't even see Gamma per se. I see so many other things that are already kind of tied in together. It's almost kind of merging the last three things together. Because I mean, really, Gamma is implementing rebasing. That's it. Okay. And then people are going, when next? And I think, you know, it's going to have that snowball effect where things are going to, and one other thing as well on that is that people kind of get kind of cautious of like, well, they have to test it. we have been testing it. Like I've literally seen rebasing happening on a wallet. Like I've already seen that it's working. So
Can
we
you
have
show us
already
screenshots of that?
we've been testing for a fair bit already. You know, it's not
Yeah,
something that we just kind of
yeah.
give to the people and then hope for testing. It's just kind of
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that you guys. I know you guys are testing.
that's the
What
answer
he's
I
saying
wanted.
was Prado right?
The problem I think a lot of people have is because they're not seeing it, the testing being done, they just assume that nothing's being done, and then they go, well, it can't come out in a month, when the Q2, or they're starting to doubt Q2. So what can you say to kind of like just make people feel good about Q2?
Well, I've always been very transparent in the sense that I've never sugarcoated things. If it's not ready, it's not ready. But I mean, we still have to have a general guideline. So if we are lacking behind, we tend to apply a bit more pressure in order to make it happen. But I think, I'm looking more and more optimistic. I think if it was going to be anything, it would be the end of quarter two, as such. But
That's kind of what we thought all along.
Yeah.
Was end of
well, I
quarter
mean,
two.
like, why wouldn't you utilize if you were going to say a quarter? Like, if it happens earlier, I'll be more surprised rather than it happens later. But overall, when I start seeing more and more things come out, I become more and more optimistic. But to me, I get it that in some people mindsets, they got vested and want cash flow and all of that sort of stuff. But my mindset is completely different in that sense. Like, my mindset is more on a core quality project that is like, for example, Sui launched yesterday, blockchain. And I was like, cool, what do I do? And it was just so hard to find all of that information. Then you log into Binance or whatever, Binance is crashing. Like, you go to their website, you go to their Twitter. It's very kind of hard. And where I get excited is like, okay, cool. Website, application, ease of use, Uxie swap, like making it very user friendly. Like, it's kind of like what people are used to. So I think, honestly, that even if it was a little bit longer, it's because of these tools that we've implemented, it's going to make growth faster. So, what would you rather have? Would you rather have a sub-core product, which is good but does the minimum, or an overachieving product, which has got ease of use? So it's a balance.
I think everyone would say they want that overachieving product, but the problem is everyone is impatient. We have that Amazon culture that's we want it now. Yeah. And, that's just, and even if Gamma were to come out, then it would be when's mainnet, and then mainnet comes out and we finally launch. And then it's, when are you guys going to advertise this more? And there's always going to be something people are going to bitch about. I mean,
that's
and
right.
most importantly, not everybody has Prime. Not everybody can afford that. Okay,
I complain,
dude. It's like $8.99 or something, man, or like $12 or something.
In New York, it's like a mortgage or something like that. Yeah.
That's why I don't live in New York.
So,
I live in the United States.
Jason, I got another question for you. Are you guys looking at, or are you even considering any kind of anything with the SafeUgo launch and the way it's set up? Are you guys looking at anything to see how that would be? If there's something in there that you guys may go back and say, hey, we'd like to put this in the Vulcan blockchain. Is there any kind of thing there? Or is it just two separate projects, not even looking at them?
So Vulcan is completely 100% separate in the sense of SafeUgo, all of that sort of stuff. So SafeUgo is effectively the same as any other person could be a project that you could develop yourself. It's just obviously it's got Brian behind it, which he's just always thinking outside of the box. So he's pushing things to the next level. So is Vulcan ever going to reject anything that wants to build onto it? Well, no. It kind of like, for a decentralized blockchain, it's never going to really do that. It's up to the success of the people that are either contributing to it, building it, or using it. So, is there potential room for partnership and stuff like that in the future? Of course, there's always that opportunity there for that kind of stuff. But there has to be a line where they are two separate products. Vulcan blockchain is made by Uxie Labs. Uxie Labs is not making Seifu Go. They're completely different things.
Nice.
So you're going to kind of separate it a little bit, but you can see where if they want to go onto Vulcan blockchain and utilize the rebasing functionality of the protocol, then you can see where it could also grow in that aspect as well too. So, and when it comes to people's time, you know, a lot of our time is in development at this stage. So people like Brian themselves, they can dabble and spend a bit more energy in other things that they're passionate about, while still contributing to this. You know, it's kind of
so basically Brian's bored because Vulcan's in the development phase, is what you're saying?
Right. Brian doesn't like to stand still. If you've ever noticed that, he's always twitching his toes somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, what do they say? An active mind keeps you young, in that sense. So, you know, it's very easy for somebody in an opposite position to go, well, I've got money and I could just kick back and relax, and who cares, you know? So it shows that he's putting his face and his name and his energy out there because he actually wants to do something. He doesn't necessarily have to do something, but he also likes to push the boundaries in terms of development and work with other like-minded developers in that sense that really kind of want to drive things to the next level. So rather than jumping on catchphrases or keywords or something like that to do that. But I don't particularly follow SafeGo too much. Like I keep an eye on things like I do with like lots of other projects, kind of keeping it, but my focus is 100% on Vulcan. And then when I get a bit of chance, I kind of dabble in everything just to keep myself in the loop so I don't look like a turkey.
Did you happen to keep an eye on that property flex?
No. When you guys mentioned that just then, like, that was kind of the first I've got of that. So
yeah, go ahead and go over to the website, put your email in there, brother.
Yeah. So property flex is, I'm assuming, obviously your thing. So I would expect to see a thing listed on the Vulcan blockchain.
It's in fact, it's geared mainly for Vulcan.
Go to the light paper there, Jason. It's got Vulcan all going on.
I like it. I like that projects page on the Vulcan blockchain website because it kind of gives me an idea of like, that's our community for a start. Like generally, if they're involved, they're in that community. But then it gives me ease of access to access like Discord, Twitter, like where I can keep up the loop because. Like I look at the list and I was like, well, you see 13, 15, 20 projects, some going, like you see stuff like some people who are pulled liquidity in one or what's going on that, I don't know. So and then another one being built like Vamp token and stuff like that too. So I'm kind of like, it's the more I kind of get later, I think it's going to get only bigger, but this ease of access and simplicity. But I'm always following you guys, like whether it's, you know, building your layer 0 blockchain or building your own individual projects or all that sort of stuff. I think development isn't successful based on one person's opinion, but like what can be made overall out of it. So if anything, we should just embrace challenges. Otherwise we become lenient.
Well said.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of how our layer 0 Prism chain came about. We started with ARM, which is completely separate from anything. It's not even on the Binance blockchain. It was a community thing. And we saw how, at least me personally, I saw how vast the community had grown for Seifu, you know, and mainly the people, not really even the token itself, but just the people. I fell in love with the people. And then of course I'm already in love with crypto. You know, they go hand in hand. It's a marriage that I don't want to be divorced from. So I thought, well, as a community, what could we do? We came up with ARM, Arbitrimium, and it's a success. And then we said, well, let's build a blockchain layer 0. You're right about that, Jason. It's not one man's idea. It's multiple. It's a cultivation of multiple ideas, and that's the way. And we're not no one's doing this alone. It's a team doing it, as you know. It's a team. It's a day-to-day thing. Sure. A lot of stuff happening in the back end because we get the same questions. When this. So trust me, I understand the pressures, you know, to some degree. So and so with Property Flex, it's completely separate. You know, it's a project that myself, Milky, and NR are involved in. We have another gentleman, Crypto Legend, that we just brought onto the team, and as we said, it was geared towards the inception of it was conceptually was because of the Vulcan rebasing blockchain. So if you go to the light paper, you'll see that there how the mechanics are needing Vulcan to happen. So we're excited about it, right? And we got tons.
It's going to be a lot easier for you guys in the future because of these other tools that are created. So, like, I mean, you know, you're going to be able to compile something nice and fast. You can start doing it now already and start dabbling in it. And then you can implement the Vulcan core portion of it. And I think, as anybody knows, development time costs money. And if you want a good developer, that costs a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Right in our
anything that can save you time also saves you money. So, you know, these, and the fact, like I mentioned, I alluded to Nick, how much does this cost? Nothing. Well, he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to charge nothing. You know, he's gifting this. Now, whether somebody wants to take it and use it, or you know, get just some basics out of it and then adapt it how they see fit, then, you know, if anything is free, is useful. So
was that free, that idea of providing this free tool or these free tools that Nick's coming out with, was that something that he came up with, or was it something that Uxie and you guys sat around and said, hey, let's make it easier for developers because of the rebasing aspect? Like, how did that come about?
Yeah, we want to make everything easier for everybody. Yeah. You know, I'll go back to the analogy of a new layer 1 blockchain coming out, and you want to do something on it. Well, I mean, they've got a Discord and divs and all this sort of stuff, but like, it's still a maze. You have to kind of find it. So unless you're in the loop, it makes it quite challenging, quite hard. So Nick is obviously runs Hyperverse by Decentrology as well, and they've already got a module sort of system in place. And the way that these modules are quite interesting is because you can create something, you can effectively build, say, a useful tool per se, and then you can put $1 on that. So you could go, okay, it does this, and every download or every use it's going to charge, like, you could buy as a once-off license fee, or it could have a subscription model on it or something like that as well. So people can, it's like the way that Nick kind of presented it as such with a Hyperverse is it's like an app store for developers.
Like an app store for development.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. So this portion is free. We're providing the base layers and all that sort of stuff. And then if people want to build on that and then maybe create modules and something, then that's something that can happen in the future. And there could be another revenue stream for developers that have put in that effort for the IP, and they want to set what they think it's worth and go from there.
Yeah, I definitely seeing a good starting point for developers and for those that actually want to get into develop. So if you've always thought about developing your own app, create your own smart contract.
It's kind of like you're creating a WordPress theme. I saw that analogy on there.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah,
go, okay, that's actually... I create my own WordPress, and then you go, oh, that theme looks cool. And how much is that thing? Oh, it costs $12.99 as a once-off. All right, cool, I'll buy it. And then I'll modify that theme to fit me and what product that I'm selling or doing or whatever. So, you know, using it like that, it simply makes sense. If it's too much, people won't buy it. If it's too less, people will buy too much of it. That's up to, you know, product placement, price.
Yep, I agree with that. That's a good analogy. WordPress.
I like that. Yeah.
And what Nick is doing, and what the blockchain, from what I see in my outside observation, is everything that's coming out now and what's going on, especially with what Nick's talking about, is to make the blockchain better. These tools and stuff are going to make it easier for people to work on projects, to help them to try to make them as successful as possible to be on the Vulcan blockchain. That's the way I see it. I might be wrong.
That's a good point.
I mean, like, whenever you buy a new car, it comes with a user guide, even though
nobody reads that shit.
Well,
nobody reads the owner's manual of a car. Trust me.
What Nick is working on.
I read it, sir.
You're the exception, brother. You're the exception.
Throw it away.
Nobody ever reads the damn owner's manual.
But I can see. So you're one of those people that will do something until it breaks, and then once it breaks and you can't fix it, then you look at the owner's guide to figure out how to fix it.
Not me. I'm a manual.
I'm
reader.
a manual.
I will read
I
the
love
manual.
my manuals.
But being a mechanic, being an auto technician, nobody reads that shit because they'll come and ask 50,000 questions. Yeah, you guys are the exception, man. Nobody reads the owner's manuals. So.
Yeah, but I see this as stuff that's just going to make the blockchain better. And I see the dedication that Nick has and the points that he makes. I see it as I don't understand nearly everything that Nick says, but the way he presents it, I feel like for people that are out there, this is going to make their projects better along with making Vulcan better.
Well, the way that he's presented it is purely just literally a demonstration of a product as such. So, I get really excited when I go, okay, I can't wait to see Nick's video where he will go, all right, let's build a D app from the ground and do this and do that. And like people like, for example, Caitlin, Big Spot, which isn't a developer per se, but they want to be involved. They want to learn. This is what drives their motivation. Like a lot of people that are in our team and stuff, they're not there for the dollars and cents. It's because of the innovation behind it. The capabilities of what can be. So people like, for example, Caitlin, she can't wait to do that. She will go and watch YouTube videos on how to code and all that sort of stuff. I would love to be a developer. I would love to know how to do stuff. But there's sometimes it just kind of gets over my head and my eyes roll back and all that sort of stuff. But then again, I could be talking aerodynamics with you guys and make your heads explode too. So it's kind of like what you're used to, what you've grown up with, what you're interested in, all that sort of stuff. A person that's interested in flipping, something for 10% is probably not going to be interested in how things are made.
Well, we got a question down here from Jay Levin's Legend. It's been on the screen for a little bit. It says, will the team consider extending the Uxie sacrifice for a week or two?
There's something we could probably do there. We've been discussing, so hold on and we'll see. But I won't rule that out. I think there's something that we can do that will benefit everybody.
This is where Esco is really taking away from Uxie. A lot of people are just like holding their money for Esco.
Well, I mean, like the thing is, and that's perfectly fine. Like, the thing is, like, while people wait, there's still going to be degeners. They're going to want to dabble and stuff. There's still going to be people that have their passion. So, you can't expect people to be just idle, staring at a screen for nothing. They're going to follow stuff that excites them, and that's one thing I like about all these sort of stuff is that something that they can do. So what they do afterwards is completely up to them. But Uxie wasn't built on Esco. Uxie is our DEX, and there's the benefits of that. And if people want to be involved in that, then they can. Can there be a way that we can maybe extend it and get people motivated and educate them on the benefits of Uxie and allow them to be more involved instead of just shutting it off completely? I think so. I don't see why not. That's not an unreasonable request to do so. But we like to kind of make things a bit exciting. So we kind of put our brainstorming hats on there and try and do it so that it's more beneficial for the user. Perfect. So that's where we can kind of leave it at that. Anyone can still sacrifice. We could still extend it. But I like to kind of mix things up a little bit and make it a bit more exciting.
Nice.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with G. It was good to see the three of you on today. That was it was a good live. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a little bit different because it's not all about showboating and like it's something to be excited by, but I'm more excited by showing the other talents within the team. Like people like Caitlin work really, really, really hard behind the scenes. And in terms of the hackathon and stuff, like you should see that the roadmap that they've laid out like internally to like really drive it and make it to be successful with a game plan and everything like that. And even having periods of education and development and walkthroughs and all this sort of stuff. Like these people are like, and they developers in particular, they don't particularly like to be on a speaking sort of platform per se. So it's pushing other people out of their comfort zone. But, it's cool to kind of see a different perspective of other people in the team, because it gives a realization that this is real. This isn't just one person or two people spruiking a product. This is multiple layers of different areas and different with different capabilities, all working in unison to deliver a product.
You know, Fowler joined quite a bit ago. I didn't know I don't know if he had any questions or what, but he's been patiently waiting for quite a while. Fowler, you got anything you want to add?
Well, he jumped on when we were talking about the gaming stuff.
Phew, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
He heard,
I'm just sitting here listening to you guys, man. You know, I'm just
okay.
absorbing
I didn't
all
wanna-
this.
Yeah, he heard Roblox, bro, and he like pulled over. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, man, nah, Fowler, man, the stuff's looking good, man. I'm in the
Yeah.
the Gods of Gaming Discord, bro. It's looking real good.
Finally, man, finally.
Well, I'm in there, man. I just when I'm not working,
You-
you know, I gotta pay some bills, but nah, it's looking good. Looking good.
Fowler, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not representing like I am.
Oh god,
Exactly.
somebody wake that guy up.
Yeah. Vulcan ear stuff.
That's actually a pretty cool shirt, man.
It's definitely a cool design. Yeah.
So
let me
Oh,
guess.
you know what? I actually got my shirt today. Crazy enough, I got my
Finally.
Guys of Gaming. Finally. I mean, it's only been a month, right? Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
So Jason, what's on your horizon the next couple of weeks? What are you focusing on personally yourself?
Everything, man. Like literally everything. Like our week is just laid out with like different sort of things. Like the good thing is like everyone kind of has their own path in which they look after. So Caitlin is very much on the social side of things, and also on like focusing on like the operations in terms of like hackathon and making things so that they have a particular path to go down through. You know, we still have meetings, like we chat daily, obviously, like all the time, like if not every couple of hours, like we're all always talking to each other. Mondays is typically our tech meetings where we deep dive into, you know, where are we at in terms of basically blockchain, and what do we need to do to make, you know, any obstacles that we're overcoming or anything along those lines. Wednesdays we chat together and we speak about everything as a whole layer with the entire team, whether it's social, metrics, or operations, things we're going to do in the future, like things like you guys mentioned as well, like just now with Uxie and stuff like that. This all gets fed back, and everything that people mention, we listen to. So even though you might not see me physically in the Discord, I still see everything, like literally everything. Like my Discord is open 24/7, and I pop in, pop out. And whenever I see something and I go, oh, that's a good idea, I'll speak to the boys and everybody else and go, oh, what about doing this? Or what about doing that? Or, you know, or other stuff, which might be things that we want to kind of showcase. So our weeks are absolutely flat chat, probably not as busy as the devs themselves. But it kind of, it goes in cycles, you know, devs produce, we criticize, goes around in a loop. So it's just busy, man. Just busy until we get to the end goal. But like, as you can see, things are starting to snowball, because with this then comes rebasing on a testnet level, and then you start to see things amplify even further.
Oh, it's not even over even after mainnet launches. You
Oh, no.
Well, no, after mainnet,
it just,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you think you're busy
if
now.
anything, we
Yeah.
get more gray after
Yeah.
mainnet. Like it
Yeah.
becomes more
Oh, yeah.
stressful. So
Yeah,
and,
of course.
and that's not even looking at the dollars and cents. That's looking at security and performance. So
Mhm. Oh yeah, yeah, because you're gonna have bad actors, you know, that are gonna want to. That's you know, being in IT, you know, it's one thing to get the infrastructure up and running, but it's another thing to maintain it, as we talked about,
yeah.
and of course the security aspects of that, of keeping it
And
secure. you know.
continuing to develop as well too. Like Uxie Labs is not just a standalone thing. Like, you know, we want to push the innovation chain going further, and you know, whether it's actually implementing AI for certain things, there's so much opportunity. Like the good thing is, like, you turn around and a week later there's something completely new, but all we can do is learn from previous bad examples right, that have happened, and make sure that that doesn't happen to us. So we learn from other people's mistakes or bad nature, and also drive and develop and move forward. And if you take people, for example, like Brian, with his little tippy tappy toes, that can't wait, can't sit still, then you know that it's kind of like in good hands. Like, you know, that we kind of want to push that innovation area. And in terms of, you know, moving forward, like once mainnet is up, then you can expect to be more showcased in like developer expos and stuff like that. Like really, I think it's more about building a culture around it and getting people involved in where they want to be and making sure that they can do that with ease.
Right on. Now,
So-
Plan B. With that being said, has there been any further development with maybe centralized exchanges or
Oh, you read
anything
my
like
mind.
that you
Oh,
can
yeah,
that you can
there's lots of that.
you know
There's lots.
elaborate on maybe a little bit?
I can't elaborate on it, but there's definitely lots
Fair
of
enough.
it. So,
Fair
yeah.
enough.
So the
One or
tier
two.
1, tier 2 talks are strong, and they're only getting stronger with everything that we produce. But if you were to look at, I'm sure you guys are building a layer 0 blockchain, and that's going to come with a coin of some description. If you were to chat to the tier 1 exchanges, you're about to, if you haven't already, you're about to find out the challenges that come in place with that. And it's not a simple process, but it's what's promising is that the conversations, once they get the ball rolling, are more detailed, more in depth, more serious. And if we honestly didn't do things like stuff in Dubai previously, then we may not have had the opportunities to do stuff in the future. So it's kind of helped us. And if
Makes
anything,
sense.
it's going to help our success, helps other people's success because they've been involved in that process as it goes. So it's kind of like knocking down those barriers just a little bit as they grow. But it's all very, very positive. You know, some stuff is a battle war of who wants to be number one and only, and then at the same time we're still talking to the number ones of the number ones. So
Yeah, yeah.
you
So
know?
where everybody looks up to those guys.
Yeah.
I remember speaking with Caitlin. Nathan B was on that call a couple of months back when we were talking node security and everything, and we had a brief conversation. I remember her just talking about her working with the exchanges. You guys have talked about it on a live, that the game is a bit different now. You know,
well, back in the day, people used to be able to just pay for stuff.
Mhm.
People used to be able to just pay for a listing, you know, and how much you pay is probably down to your own negotiation skills. But now it's about, thanks to people like bad actors, I think is actually a good thing that these bigger players now are starting to be more quality crucial of what they allow on and off. You know, you can't just buy your way through, sort of thing.
Yeah, they're
So
being more selective. Yeah.
yeah,
No
that's
doubt.
right. And I think that's kind of if anything, I'm not discouraged by that. I'm encouraged by that. I think that's a good thing.
yeah, and I think that's where the self-regulation comes into play. As if you haven't listened to me,
Yep.
Jason, I don't want the government at all. I don't want any regulation. You know, to some degree, right? I understand there has to be some things to protect you know, some of the investors or those that play on exchanges, essentially, right? But anyways, I just when it comes to self-regulation, I think that's one example of that. You know, with exchanges, you want us to list you. Let's actually let's see who you are. Let's see what you're about. You know, let's see let's check your backgrounds out or whatever you got to do. Because they're going to be listing, even if you dump a lot of money into it, I think, you know, and you turn out to have a shit coin or a shit token, whatever it is, it reflects on the blockchain. You know, at the end of the day, I'm sorry, on the exchange, it reflects on them, period. Because
And it's kind of like an interesting balance, because something as unique as Vulcan is a lot of activity is actually better on chain than off chain. You know what I mean? So like a standard token these days, whether you have it on chain or off chain, like obviously you don't want to particularly store it on an exchange in case that exchange crumbles and you lose your asset. So there's that one risk there. But when it comes to like claiming certain things or like you know, power pools and stuff like that, you're going to find that quite a lot of stuff is actually going to be on chain. So that might kind of be working out better. Like obviously an exchange is useful for visibility, and for fiat for people to buy and get on and all that sort of stuff. Like there's that use factor, and then they may wish to trade within the certain exchanges between different tokens and do whatever strategy it is that they do. That's one portion. But then you're going to find that with Vulcan that there's going to be quite a bit which is going to be on chain as well too. So you're going to really kind of have quite a unique kind of 50-50 sort of mark where you're going to have your tokens as such.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think it's beneficial to have as much on chain as possible rather than off chain. I think it's kind of better in terms of your own ecosystem, and it's probably better, honestly, like when it comes to exchange flopping too. It's a better mindset to have your assets kind of locked up in a safe environment, and I don't think that's been educated enough. A lot of people have just been reliant on like little exchanges where, like in Australia, for example, you could buy something and that's kind of like, well, that's it. You just buy it and you leave it there and you hope the price goes up or down. And that's kind of the mindset that we've been driven, where we haven't been driven mindset about, like, if you were to ask people 3 years ago about a ledger or something like that, that was only for the geeks, you know, that wasn't for the people of the consumer, and it should be the consumer.
Yep.
So we got another question up here from Crypto Pride. It says Plan B. Can you give me some alpha on ePlays and Vulcan?
Yeah, he's working on a commercial, so he needs some content.
Hold on, we got to go to our Spritz segment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna hold for this advert.
sorry, Pride. You know,
we love you, Pride.
Is this one sponsored by ExpressVPN, or like who's doing this one?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. we're gonna talk reverse mortgages here in a minute, but go ahead.
Fritz, I finally used them.
Is that because Chris is on here?
Yeah. Reverse mortgages. He said that, bro. I didn't say that.
I couldn't help.
No,
Oh, but you don't take him down.
I apologize for this riffraff, Jason.
I think you may see like e-plays involved more so in the future, but like honestly, our focus right now is primarily based, like, I think as soon as we start adding too much pieces to the pie, it just becomes a bit of a mess. So like, let's set the foundation first, and then as time comes by, we'll add pieces to the puzzle to give it like that whole of business experience per se. But you know, there's some stuff like, I mean, it's easy to do that, but at the same time, you know, you kind of want to. We're at this stage now where we want to show utility, not necessarily sell a product.
Yeah, I can completely understand that.
Yeah.
We have another one from Commander 605. Jason, is it too late to integrate AI into Vulcan?
No, of course not. You can integrate, like, maybe not maybe at a protocol level that it might potentially, but is that a bad thing? No, I think AI can get outdated as fast as it can be integrated. So I think having an AI into something that we're expecting to last for 21 years on a protocol level is probably a good thing to not have it there. And, you know, to utilize AI, like you look at ChatGPT and it's been upgraded from 2 to 3 to 4, like, you know, it's only getting better and better. So I think that's more useful on a smart contract level or something along those lines that you could kind of change. Whereas when things are built in on a protocol, that's it. Unless you're creating a version 2 or a wrapped something, that's when you're changing the game. So you want to make sure that your foundation is neat and clean and proper.
That makes sense. Now, Jason, I know you can't talk about exchanges, things of that nature, but obviously it's a rebasing blockchain. So once it gets on an exchange, you guys are going to have to do some type of education along with advertising just to let people know that, hey, this is something different. You know, there's taxes. There's no blockchains out there with taxes. What do you guys have planned for that type of education for people that are new to the ecosystem?
Yeah, I think like so you got to have a responsibility in advertising in that sense. Like you can't just kind of go by that. But I think like one thing that I look for, and I'll take Sui for example, right? I went on their website. There's no workshops. There's no. Well, Binance is very good in that sense. Binance, you go on their exchange, and they have like a lot of education-based kind of pathways where you can kind of go to. So, you know, I think the D app itself is going to be very an educational piece on there. I think that's where obviously people are going to go to, but it's working in unison with these exchanges to kind of educate and, you know, make awareness of how things operate and how things work and what to expect.
So are you guys gonna kind of take it as it comes, or do you have a game plan already in place?
No, we already have a game plan for that sort of stuff, but we still have to have flexibility of stuff because they still have their own brand of how they do things. Right. So they may just interpret the information, and we just have to make sure that information is accurate in that sense. So, you know, you look at CoinMarketCap and they put up warnings. It shouldn't be warnings. It should be education. Yeah. And I think that's the way they go wrong about it.
Yeah.
There you go. Greek, you're very quiet. Sitting there growing.
Quiet. No, they're asking all good questions.
He's trying to build
my questions like 6 times, so I'm like,
oh, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, brother.
He's actually on. He's on DAppStarter right now. He's trying to build an app.
Greek, if you need me to knock anybody off,
I would love to see you guys. I would love to see you guys like build an app. Like the best thing about our community in general, and across several communities, like I'm not talking about Vulcan, but whether they've been an advocate of us in the past and then kind of gone their own path, or soon probably to be something in the future. The only thing I've noticed is the space has grown, and within those spaces, there's people with a lot of experience and tools and usefulness. And like Kryptonian mentioned with ARM and stuff, it was a community-driven sort of token and stuff. And I think that was successful based on trust, you know, whereas a lot of others have failed because of lack of trust. So that shows like if a token can be successful, then an application can be successful. And I think if people are narrow-minded, they just miss opportunity. I don't hold any haste against even other communities, which I know, you know, may have a sour taste in their mouth with whether it's SafeWX, Vulcan, whatever it is. You know, I don't look at them any differently than anybody else. I just see an ability of people to be able to work together to create something. So I'm kind of excited to see, you know, you've got the brains of who's the guy with the calculator and the
Prado.
Prado, yeah, Prado. That's a bit of a backhand slap, wasn't it? Take that, Prado. No.
It's all he's got, man. It's all he's got.
Calculator, Prado.
You haven't even brought up the calculator anymore.
You got
he's pissed at everybody, even the calculator. But go ahead.
Yeah. You got Prado, the hype man. You've got everyone. You got like I'm sure there's guys out there that like Yamaps, you know, crazy good with visual tools and stuff like that. So the good thing is, you know, from my experience, one thing I've noticed in the last year and a half is that if anything, I've seen people become more connected because of Safe and Vulcan than being less connected. Like, sure, they may go their own way and kind of forget about us and focus on their own thing. That's fine. But at the end of the day, I can probably assure you that NR probably would never have met Kryptonian. We should never have met Confirm It. We should never have met Dio. We should never have met Poodles, you know? So as much as some people can have a sour taste in their mouth, I think I think they're just being a little bit too political about it and not understanding of what the end goal is. And if they're upset that maybe it's because they've overinvested or underachieved or felt sour of something, I think they're taking too much emotion in it, and then just need to kind of tone back and go, well, what is the end goal? And I get it. Like, you know, no one wants to wait a year or so. But then at the same time, when you look at what could have been and developed versus what is happening now, I think we can all collectively agree that our current end product, or what we're in the process of developing, is far, far, far superior than rebasing with a massive high APY and a short-term life. And I think that's more important overall.
You're right.
Otherwise, you just become an example.
Yeah, Prado's calculator proves that.
Oh yeah, speaking of calculator, you know, you talked about I never would have met like NR, Greek, Fowler, Chris, all the gentlemen you see here yourself, if it had not been for Seifu at the end of the day, and Prado never would have met his calculator.
Also, I was looking
everybody has made friends here.
Yeah, and you know the thing is, like, it's kind of it's a little bit sad in a way, like when I see other channels kind of go off and go on their own paths. Because, for example, I was looking at some of the old photos and videos that people were sharing of the Dubai trip and stuff, and it comes up on memories and stuff on my phone and stuff. And I go, there's some cool people out there, man, that you had a lot of fun with. And they're at the end of the day, they're not all usernames that people can blast me with all the crap they want. I really don't care. But it's when you separate the username to an actual individual, to an actual person, and you kind of go that next step. And then that's where like the space is becoming a lot more special. And that's why I kind of like I really appreciate people that have an idea and then put it out there with their face. So effectively, it's not about doxing anymore. It's about encouraging. Now, whether you're encouraging people to be in the right way or a negative way, there's always going to be negative actors going, well, how can we rip somebody off? You know, they may be encouraging themselves, but then you have positive actors that are encouraging them in the right way. And I think people need to recognize that everyone is human and everyone is a person. They do have feelings. And, you know, as much as you can sometimes have a sour feeling from something happening that may not have happened in the way that you wanted it to happen, when you reflect back on that and you go, well, you know what, in this community, even though that didn't happen that I want, I might be upset with vesting, for example. Oh, that's made me sad and angry. But, you know, at the same time, I've built all of these other things which could be worth so much more than what a bloody 12-month vesting period, which is designed to create security. So I think it just
stability, right?
Stability. Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
And longevity.
Yeah. I mean, like, and as far as the vesting, I'm okay with it. I mean, I think most of us here are. We get it, right? So
I mean, like everyone wants something yesterday, and if you could deliver something faster, but you know, it's like I want the next MacBook Pro, for example, right? Well, when is that going to happen? I don't know, but I could go buy one now and then come out next month. It's kind of, I get it. Like people, especially when they've been waiting a while, but then you look at videos like today, which are a bit more tech savvy, a bit more in there, and stuff like DAppStarter, which is just it should be recognized for what it is, how big it actually is, and how useful it's going to be. Because this is the thing, right? DAppStarter cannot just be only useful for Vulcan. It can be useful for everybody, you know, including layer zeros and all that sort of stuff. So it's about, I would pick it as a more of a, you're not successful unless you got the entire community. If you've only got a portion of it, then you've only got 10%.
Now, well said, Jason. And to speak to that point too, it goes back to the old saying, it takes a village. And at the end of the day, what we all want is the expansion of crypto into the mainstream, right? That's what we all want, adoption. I mean, that's to further, and I think it does take a village. So yeah, man, that was I think Commander 605 said it over there. He said, thank you for your well thought out response and just everything that you were saying there, man. It jived, brother. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
No
all right.
doubt.
Yes.
No doubt, man. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Shit.
Chris
Good
gets
shit.
asked me how long to spend. I don't have much time, to be fair. I've got a meeting in about 5-10 minutes, so I've got to jump onto that. And then I've got another meeting at 3:30, and then
Well, we
and then we're gonna
appreciate
go
you
out.
hanging out with us.
Then
man.
I've got to go out for a dinner with Brian and have a couple of drinks to celebrate his birthday.
Eat a
So-
giant burger.
Tell him
No.
we said happy birthday.
Not
Yeah.
pepper burgers. That was disgusting. That thing. No.
Yeah,
no,
you guys were all talking smack up until the burger showed up, and then you guys were.
Yeah, but it tasted
It
bad.
looked like
It bad.
it tasted like that.
It
so-
didn't taste good. I would be more excited if it was a nice tasting burger, but no, that one
They
wasn't
just
so
cooked the whole
exciting.
horse. Yeah.
Yeah, it
That
was
is-
4
that is-
pounds of just
it was-
pure dry patty, and
It was just pepper.
Oh.
It's like pepper with a little bit of bread on top. It's just crazy.
Oh,
It was
man.
You need a Whataburger.
That's
A
right.
what?
Whataburger.
Whatever.
You know what? Like honestly, like we're just so that impulse. We're so degen. Like we'll see something like that and we're just gonna buy it. Like screw it, why not? Like let's just see what happens. What was peanut butter and crypto? What's he showing?
Oh, he
Those are
makes
burgers
he
right
doesn't
there.
go to he doesn't go to McDonald's. He
Oh, that
has, he
looks
has his
cool.
own kitchen.
He makes the house burgers. Yeah.
yeah, those
there
are
you go.
for the kids.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I mean, at the end of the day, right? If you're gonna put a
That's wrong.
menu, if you're gonna get a whole bunch of degeners, right, in Dubai all together or anywhere, Thailand, wherever the hell we are, right, and you're gonna have a big ass burger on a menu, like a challenge, like challenge accepted. Like, we're just buying that. We don't care. Like, bring it on.
I think the final question we have for you, Jason, before you go, and I appreciate you being here, is if
Hell
you
yeah.
were if you were invited to a barbecue,
Oh no.
what would you expect at a barbecue? Go.
Okay.
Who's hosting the barbecue?
Greek.
Greg. Well, I mean, first thing is you got to open up his closet and make sure his hostage is bloody released. That could be a start. Let go of any of those. Let go of
I swear he's
someone's
released.
grandfather that's been stuck in there for 3 months. Maybe offer them a patty or something.
He's out in the
Some
trunk.
water.
I guess to really hone it in, like, would you expect like chicken, sausage, ribs, all those things? Or
Well,
would you-
Aussie barbecue consists of sausages, steak, onion, sauce, bread. Anything extra is a bonus.
All right. So if you had a
Lots of
bunch of
rib.
kitty, if you had a bunch, damn, look at that.
Ribs, hey?
That looks like a
all
freaking
about
human
some
rib
ribs.
case, bro. What's going on, bro?
Dude, stop
What's
showing
going
that.
on?
That was the last
You know-
person. That was the last FedEx delivery guy that came to his house.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
Butter and
The,
Dauber.
the reason I asked is because we asked this question to Prado, and he says he doesn't go to barbecues unless there's hot dogs, the small little bitty hot dogs. He likes the little bitty
Yeah, the
weenies.
little ones.
And
The
small
teeny
burgers,
weenies,
sliders,
huh?
teeny weenies.
He's still
Yeah.
stuck on the party pies. He hasn't been
He likes
to a
the
real
sliders
barbecue.
and
Yeah, he likes it. He goes, I don't go, unless there's a burger and some.
He said it's not a barbecue unless there's hot dogs and
I
wieners.
just, so now there's a bunch of men on the panel. We thought we'd ask the men, and he'll watch this. The funny thing, he's gonna wake up in about an hour going,
So I've got a
Kryptonian.
question. If you're going to a barbecue, I think is a good barbecue is when somebody brings something. So I know Greek is probably bringing the tzatziki and his little
Yeah.
hot dogs. What are you bringing?
little hot dog.
Who, me?
You're bringing a little hot dog? Is that what you're
Yeah.
bringing?
Let's
Krypton?
go around the circle. What are you,
I'm bringing fajitas, bro.
I'm bringing the
Fajitas.
filet mignon.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
I'm bringing steaks.
I love me some filet mignon, man.
Ooh, that's good stuff.
I'm bringing
What do you
big
bring,
old
Greg?
T-bones, man. We do T-bones where I live, so we eat
Yeah.
all day
Get
long.
down with T-bone.
Sounds like I should get there early, bring my grill, my smoker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was
man.
gonna bring some Wagyu steaks because we're all gonna make it with
Yeah.
Vulcan.
You
Why?
into
Why?
that?
Why settle
Hey,
for
It's steaks with the
normal stuff?
plural, man. So we're really making it then, huh?
What I like is bison steak.
Bison.
I like
Yeah, right.
bison.
Yeah.
I
Bison's
like
pretty
bison.
good. Bison's pretty good.
Yeah.
What
I
about
like
Fowler?
all.
Fowler's dropped off the planet. He's just driving.
No, I'm here.
He's in Hollywood.
Hey, Fowler, do you have a
Getting
gaming
hungry.
question, Fowler, at all?
Yeah, you got any gaming questions, Fowler?
No.
Don't ask me questions. I'm
No.
not the no.
Yeah, Jason's like, don't ask my ass. I don't know.
Load on Jason.
That was the last AMA, bro.
I'm asking Fowler question. I want to see
Yeah.
what he's building. I expect a basic app built without rebasing, using that thing,
I
24
could probably
hours.
pull that off. Shouldn't I just be able to just launch the DApp starter and boom?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Exactly. I want to see what you build, man. I'm
Follow,
putting the
we
only.
got to play along with this tomorrow.
Oh man, I'm gonna shock all you guys. Don't worry.
Do it, man. Nah, I believe you, bro. I got you. You got it, man. You
Yeah,
got it.
I'm a fan of Fowler's, so whatever he
Mhm.
does, I'm in the tank.
I think you could build something cool. I want to see something that you can use straight away somehow, like without not taking into account rebasing, but something simple. I think that'll be fun.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Now I feel like a.
That's
damn
right,
barbecue.
Randall. That's right, baby. Fajitas all day, man.
Jalapenos, baby. Yes.
Yeah.
Real. That's what I'm
Yep.
talking about.
Jalapenos roasted. Wow, we don't do that in Australia. Not really.
Yeah,
Well, you guys have kangaroos. I mean, you can't do much with those kangaroos around, man. Do y'all eat kangaroos? That's a question everybody's
I
asking.
mean, you can eat in Australia. You can eat anything that moves. Really, I think that's the
You can eat
rule.
horse, right? Is Australia one of the countries you can have a horse in the restaurant?
Horse. I mean, like it depends where you go, but if you're going to like some like true Aussie outback place, I've seen places where they serve everything, like crocodile, shark.
We have an outback here down the road. I mean,
That's pretty good.
I have not seen a kangaroo. I mean,
He's like, can I get a blooming onion?
Kangaroo, I can go down to the local grocery store
your
and
blooming
buy a
onions are
kangaroo.
badass.
A kangaroo is actually like it's quite gamey. It's high protein, like so it's a bit kind of chewy and stuff.
Yeah,
like
they
that.
live like
Very high
250
protein,
pounds.
low fat. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
And
they're
it's
too
just
muscular.
swing in your step.
Do you guys have the blooming onion down there, or is that y'all just making fun of us? Because here, down
The
here,
blue onion.
yeah, you're making
I
fun
think
of us.
no.
Yeah,
I
they
know
don't have no
what you're
blooming
talking
That
onions.
says it
about.
all
I know
right
what
there.
you're talking
So,
about.
so we have a
I've
restaurant. We have a
never been to
restaurant
that
here.
place.
We have a restaurant here called Outback, right? It's supposed to
Yeah.
be from
No,
Outback, right?
I've seen it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've been to one of those places. In fact, I think it's the Americanized Australian version of an Outback restaurant. Yeah, and they do that big giant onion in the middle, and you kind of pull it apart and get in the dip. Yeah, that's the only place I've ever seen it. It's like an American place trying to be Aussie.
You know what? I'm going to Outback. I got a guy I'm supposed to be meeting this lunch. We'll probably go to Outback. I think I'm meeting Balls Deep. He asked if he's going to be in town. I'm going to take him to Outback, and we're going to give them shit about the blooming onion. It's just fake.
Yeah,
you know?
we'll tag Plan B at it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. I want to see.
That'd be funny. That'd be funny though. Yeah, okay. I figured. I thought it was too good to be true. Yeah. I thought I was actually eating Australian food. Yeah, it turns out it's just American.
No,
food.
all you need is like a sausage cooked on a barbecue with a slice of bread and chuck some tomato sauce on there, some onion. And that's it. That's it. That's a good old Aussie barbecue. Smash it down with a beer.
No shrimp on the Barbie.
That's Americanizing.
If you're still in the 80s, you can chuck some shrimp on the Barbie. Say, where the bloody
The
hell are
80s
you?
are shrimp on the Barbie.
That's slaughter knife.
We have one of the most important questions of the night from Seven Seas. Is
Do you really know
Foster's-
Crocodile Dundee? Is he real?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's real.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, yeah, it's Paul Hogan.
Foster's
Hogan?
is
Oh, yeah,
shit
I remember.
weird.
I love
Yeah,
Paul.
he's like legit real. Like,
Yeah,
I like Paul
as
Hogan.
real
man.
as they come. It's
But
Foster's
they,
really
Seven
Australian
Seas, is
cooking.
Foster's really Australian for beer?
You know what? I think it's probably like Americans have adopted it and said, "Well, this is our baby little Australian cousin, and this is in our who we're going to promote." It's like saying, like us would probably be had Budweiser. Well, that's probably our like a little American.
Just don't
So,
do
like,
Bud Light.
No, Bud Light.
Don't go Bud Light, bro. I will lose all respect for you if you go Bud Light. Plan B. I'm telling you right now.
Budweiser is just as bad, dude.
We're over.
Budweiser is already Bud Light. I think
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I mean it is, but I'm saying, but you understand the Bud Light thing, right? You know what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think you need to get some like if you ever come here, we'll take you to a place that does some like true IPAs, like local breweries
Oh,
around
yeah.
the place.
We have a lot
And
like
I'll tell
that,
you what,
too.
man, they'll friggin' knock your socks off.
Yeah.
I think that some
I
of them
love-
are
we have quite a few interviews. I love
We
the
got
breweries.
two. I have two within a 2-mile radius of my house. We have 5 in a 5-mile radius. Breweries.
That's where you go, man. You want some real alcohol? Go to a brewer.
that stuff is intense. Like you
20%
go there for
alcohol
lunch and you
beer.
need 3 hours to sober up just from having one drink. Jesus Christ, you can't drive to those
Well,
things.
then I'm
That's an
screwed.
Uber.
This guy is obviously from the UK, Seven Seas.
Bud Light
Bud Light
is
is
American.
America. He's been, you know what? That's bannable right there.
Nah,
That's-
you got Bud Light and then you got Kool-Aid.
Cool.
That's it.
Guys, we've been going for 3
Oh,
hours and 8
All right, I gotta go.
minutes.
I gotta go.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for your
Yeah.
time, Jason. Man,
Plan
appreciate
B,
you being here.
appreciate you as always, man.
Nice
All
to
right,
meet you.
so much.
Thanks,
Enjoy.
buddy. Hey, check out Property Flex, man. Check out the light paper. Let us know
Please
what you
I
think. man.
will list it as a project. I want to see it.
All right, well, hey, working on it, man. Let's do it.
Do it.
Now
And
we-
then Art, get on his merch.
Walk.
All right, thanks,
Okay.
thanks, Jason. We'll see you, bud.
That
Wow.
was cool.
Nah, bro, you're from the UK. You can't take it back.
No, yeah. See,
Can't take it
seven
back.
C's. I was a big fan
Seven
of yours. but
C's.
Yeah, now you gone too far. You just
Yeah,
went damn too far.
That was a nice little surprise, guys. That was
That was cool.
Yeah.
that
That's
was
what
cool.
happens when you
cool.
bring the Greek on a show.
Yeah,
That was
Pretty much.
shock
Pretty
factor.
much. Pretty
The
much.
Greek always goes deep sea fishing and catches the big ones.
That's what it was,
Yeah.
man.
He
Yeah,
reached
nah,
out to me and he said,
Cool.
"What's the link to the show?" And I just sent it to him. And that's when I said,
Hey, man.
"We got breaking news coming." And Chris Cruz, right on
Nailed
the
it.
spot.
Dropped your
Yeah.
hammer. Well, Chris
Nailed.
Cruz, he took me off. He took NR. He wouldn't take you off. You know, I guess you like it.
No. It's you guys. What did I take you off for, Krypton? You probably running your mouth about something.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, enough of that guy. So the thing about us,
No problem. Oh wait.
I remove them all.
you son of a bitch.
I wish I could control
I
this.
can't go. I can't take you guys nowhere. man.
Yeah, can't take you anywhere, man. Can't take you anywhere.
That's fun.
That's great.
No, but in all seriousness, that was actually very insightful. I'm glad he jumped on. I mean, he was asking questions, guys. Of those of you in the comments, the
Two
Utes.
Two Utes.
Two
I
Utes.
love that movie, bro. My cousin Vinny.
It was on the other day. I watched it. It was
Dude, I
great.
love that movie. Love some joke. So those of you asking the questions, we did our best. Appreciate you, Chris. You were definitely throwing them up as a.
Well, I saw you
Yeah.
typing and you were doing something there, and I was like, well,
Well, this guy right here wouldn't stop texting me. This guy right here.
Sorry, brother.
But did you notice how he
Sorry.
reiterated? And I was very happy that he did. When I asked him that question, he reiterated, like, and I even put it in the chat. Boom, talking about Seifu Go and Vulcan,
Yeah.
two separate projects. Because I always see in Discord and everything like that is, why is Brian doing that? Why, he should be focusing on. And I'm like,
Yeah.
look, it looks Plan B is running with, and I'm sure Brian's watching and all
Sure.
that kind of stuff, and making sure. But Plan B is running with Vulcan, and he's got the team. He has an AMA, tells you his status. I mean, he seems very excited about things, happy with production as where it is right now. And Brian's focusing on Seifu Go, also keeping an eye on Vulcan, but it's not like, So I was super happy when he emphatically was saying they're two separate projects.
Yeah.
I like how
And
he
I think
said
yeah.
that trying to keep Brian sitting still. That's
Yeah,
that's exactly what Brian's doing right
he
now.
gets
It's like,
bored
yeah,
easily, right?
let him have
He
his
gets
fun.
bored easily,
Whatever.
yeah.
Him
And Chris,
Prado.
I think you even said it before. Probably into the development phase. Brian doesn't have a lot going on, so
Yeah.
he's bored. He's
Well, I felt that was what
Yeah.
Plan B was saying. I
Yeah.
felt that's the way it was, and I was glad that he reiterated, because Brian said that Seifu Go is totally separate and everything like that, but then he went on with this stuff, and I was just okay. Let's reiterate this so that when people come in Discord, it's like
they'll
Brian
still
didn't
talk.
care
They'll
about
still
you.
won't get it.
But hey,
People
we
still
got
won't
it.
get
We got it on here. Everybody that
Yeah.
knows anything about Vulcan knows what the true story is, and it's
Yeah.
cleared up.
Yeah, the only problem is it's separate in terms of they're not intertwined, but the
Right.
community is in both.
Yes.
And something
Right.
that happens with Seifu Go
Correct.
does affect Vulcan when you have the same community that is tapped out with money. That's the only reason why I was like, if you
Good
could
point,
push
Greg.
back.
He was very open to that too.
Yeah,
Well, I think you
I
said
think
it, man.
Chris
You said,
realized it
"Oops,
because Brian
he's-"
realized that he was giving a lot of people this hope on May 15th of making profits with Esco. That's gonna all the X's you're gonna get, and a lot of people. I had a ton of people saying, "Oh, I'm not going to throw in. Why would I throw in now and tie up my money till Vulcan comes out by going into Uxie when I can save
Right.
this money and go into Esco and then make some profits to throw back into Uxie?" So by moving the date back of Seifu Go, you essentially affect Uxie because you have the same tapped out community.
Right.
So it does make sense, and I would imagine that Brian's going to push for that. I would anticipate. It's the fact that he said it was an idea that they've been twirling around.
Mhm.
I anticipate it happens because you have a lot
Agreed.
of people that were relying on that. Because nobody's going to throw into Uxie right now because they're all waiting for Esco, because Esco's the next thing in line. Okay, Uxie
Yeah.
is still. You're looking at, all the degens want the plays, like the Greek throwing stuff on random plays on Pink Sale today, and I hit the number 1 trending one today, so I did good. We'll see
so
how
you
it pans out
celebrated it.
tomorrow.
So you
Yeah, good
celebrating
luck,
got a
brother.
tattoo, brother.
Good luck.
Biz has a way of
Because the
saying
West is
everything.
about to open up, right? You realize that, right? Or China's about to open up, and
Yeah.
that's when you get wrecked, man. You start trading right now. So
No, 2:00 it goes live tomorrow, Central Standard.
oh, it's pre-sale. No, you said pink sale.
Pink Sale, but it was a
Gotcha,
pre-sale
my
and it
bad,
goes
my bad.
live tomorrow, so I have time. I can relax.
So I don't watch much about the CAF token, but in the comments they were asking, is liquidity going to be safe?
Well, that question was about Safe Who Go.
Okay.
Liquidity
I
is
didn't want to
safe
bring
if
it
you
up
have
'cause-
somebody who knows what they're doing and doesn't give out wallet phrases, trying
If
to
that's
build.
even what happened.
Yeah, the story is a bridge was trying to be built, and he gave wallet, whatever, the deployer wallet, he gave that so that they could build the bridge. I don't know why you need to give a deployer wallet to build a bridge, and I don't even see the point of building a bridge. Okay,
Yeah.
focus on other utilities for your token. So that it's just, I'm not in CAF, and I don't want to, because I know a lot of people watch us are maybe in CAF, but
I've got a bunch of
trust me,
NFTs. I think I've got like 12 or so KF NFTs, but
I don't know. There's been too much smoke
Yeah,
for there not to be
I
a
agree.
fire somewhere. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. And I just looking at it from an outside perspective, you can, 2 weeks ago we were in the one debacle with the same people in CAF. Now whether you must be the unluckiest person in the history of the world. Okay, too much is going on.
And even that being said, if you suspected something going on during the one debacle, wouldn't you be even extra careful with your own liquidity pool and your own wallets and your own project?
That's the thing. All eyes were on you, and you
Whoa,
starting
whoa.
to pick back up.
Oh, there you go.
What's Pride saying? He says that who stole the
They
money
stole the money
and traced it back to previous wallet. Which wallet? Wallets from the first time? From the first?
I'm gonna
fiasco?
say he's basically saying the founders of that sounds to me like the founders of the project took the dough.
40 BNB sent. That's what was taken from.
Yeah, he just said yes. Yeah.
So and I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna elaborate a little bit more and say
You want to jump on Pride if you can, and you want to give.
I
think he's at work, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
I don't know Keith to
can jump on,
speak
brother, if
on
you
it
wanna jump
to
on.
say, hey, I know this guy, but I do know the guy was in a predicament where he was kind of hard way to go and about to lose his farm. And all I have to say is desperate people sometimes do desperate things. And, if it looks like chicken and tastes like chicken, 9 out of 10 times it's chicken.
It's rattlesnake.
Didn't that
tastes like chicken?
Didn't
It's like chicken. It's probably a
didn't
calf.
that screenshot with Dio?
It looks
that
like
last
calf and
incident?
tastes like calf. It's probably calf.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff with Dio and he.
No, it's called Venice, right? Venice is
You're such
Bro.
a dick.
Yeah,
I love it, man.
you started that shit, bro. I got whiskey in my system, bro. You can't be doing that.
Yeah, me
shit.
too. Me too. So
Yeah, so I'm going to do a little bit of breaking news here in just a second. Let me get situated. I think you're going to be pretty excited.
In
here.
CKL time, that's about a minute.
Chris
Oh,
just
really?
jumped the chart up to a penny.
Oh shit!
Dude, you
Damn.
see that?
That was
I see it.
Arm
look-
is
what-
just going.
arm is looking
I
pretty
see
good,
it.
man.
Damn, I was just getting ready to buy some too.
Dang.
Somebody sell some arm.
Look at that.
Wow.
Look at that candle today, huh?
Don't forget, Kryptoni, make that live purchase, the demo live for that guy.
Yeah, I already
Yeah.
started to do that. I haven't bought any in a while. I use Trust Wallet.
I don't think you should right now, dude.
No, I'm not. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
but-
say- this is probably the first time I ever said not to buy.
Is that all time high? Is it at an all time high? It's pretty
No.
close, right?
Wait a
No,
minute.
not quite.
Wait a
No,
minute.
that's
Full body. It's got a whip.
Oh,
it was
okay, I
over a
see the
penny
wick.
before.
I see the wick. Yeah, it did get over a penny. I remember that. Yeah, it's close. It's getting there. It's getting there, man.
It's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
I totally forgot. I have some in my hot wallet by myself, not in our team wallet.
All
I
right,
love
hold on,
this.
hold on.
I love this little series right here.
Yeah,
Biz.
yeah.
Crypto Bride, will you reveal in the morning news? Crypto Bride.
Nah, man, I ain't got nothing to say. I don't know.
I'm not entertaining that mess.
Nah. He's saying what every black guy says. Man, I don't know shit, man. But you did literally drop the news, brother.
I will say this. Greek would advise, no matter
love me
what,
some
if they're using the word donation to donate to LP, that's not helping anybody. If the holders are donating to just create an LP just to get some of their money, cut your losses and move on. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. There's been too much drama around that, and that's all I'm going to say on the matter.
And the other side of that,
I'm not going to see people get hurt. Keep doing this.
Good people in our community that tried to help and support.
There's plenty of other places where you can buy your penny stocks and you can move up a few cents and make some money. Okay.
Yeah.
It had 13,000 in liquidity after being around for close to 6 months. To me, that's a failed project. So that was already a done deal.
Gone. Yeah.
Speaking of floors, hey guys, nobody sell ARM, okay, guys?
Why
do you not want to sell ARM? Because you guys didn't catch the very beginning of the show. We had some alpha news. We're going to have the Prism Chain testnet launch this weekend. That's what it looks like. It's happening. That's what I was told. Everything looks like it's a go as it stands now, right? But so we're excited about that, which means the following week, sometime next week, we'll have the actual app, like the Prism scan, so you can actually see blocks in real time. So we're super excited about that, guys. So holding ARM will get you to Prism, at least and as of now. So I'm not selling ARM, and I have not sold any since the.
But if anybody wants to, I'll eat up the dip.
Yeah, honestly, with that candle today, I kind of wouldn't mind somebody selling a little bit. I'd give a little
me
bit
neither.
more.
That's what I'm talking about.
What did I just say? Myself.
We weren't listening to what you were thinking. We're talking about profit over here.
Oh,
yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Nobody listens.
I'm all for profit, guy. Yeah, nobody ever listens to my ass. Yeah, people will ask for my money but never my advice, or take my money and never take my advice. That's just
I get that all the time, bro.
Yeah, this is the story of my life, man. Chris knows what I'm talking about.
I'll take anybody's money. If you want to throw some money my way, I will take it and put it.
All right, guys. As much as I would love to sit here and finish this with you guys, I have a flight super early in the morning.
Put you on the stage there, Kryptonian. Tell us how you feel, man. Tell us how you feel.
I'm going to be jumping off here, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to sign out.
Oh, I was talking for you, bro.
That's all.
Yeah, I just want to put one thing. 7C says the founder, the CAF are tied to one. They are tied, but there's a difference. They don't have control of the deployer wallet anymore. Yeah. That's been given away. One is completely separate from CAF. Okay, right now, completely separate. And I'm not saying stay away. I'm just saying, just one person was involved in one when the drama was going on, and then drama unfolded in their project. To me, that's too much. That's why
I'm with you. I'm with you there, Greek. And on the other side of that too, if the thing were to actually happen that they say happened, it would have had to have been not only Keith, but I would assume his son would have been tied in there as well. Like I find it hard to believe, man.
And here's what I'm going to say about this situation. I don't know what's worse. Okay. Yeah. Personally, what's worse? Yeah. If he took it personally himself, and I'm not saying he took it,
right?
Or he did give the deployer wallet to.
You're not saying it, but Pride's saying
and
it.
And a dev took it. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Pride already said it.
I haven't seen the blockchain data myself, but I will examine this. But if you gave the dev deployer wallet to somebody,
it was just as bad.
That's almost just as bad as you personally taking
it
yourself.
Worse.
Yeah.
Because
it is worse, man. It's almost like
that person with your project. Like I just know that's going to be under lock and key. Nobody's going to be able to touch my deployer wallet.
Hey, Biz, Biz, if you're listening, would you put the Discord for Gods of Gaming in
Greek,
there?
you seem pissed, brother.
Well, because I see this stuff and I see people in there like, oh, we trust you. Trust you. That's not somebody you want even near any project of mine. Like I'd be embarrassed if that's my.
Stay away from my wallet, dude.
The fact that when I heard when he admitted to that, I'm like, are you kidding me? You gave your deployer wallet away. So thank you. Thank you.
I'll
The
just type
community
out my
should be like,
phrase
you're
on the
done.
wallets.
You're done in crypto. He's done. In my
You
opinion.
know what? I agree.
And
with
I'm
completely
not gonna
with-
put him here and say, oh, it's okay, guys. Calf can be saved. No, Calf's dead. So
Yeah.
we got to just put that there. There's going to be no Esco pairing. I can assure you that. Okay, Brian's going to come out in the next few days whenever he gets wind of whatever's going on. Trust me, I won't. I would not advise anybody to go near it. Stay safe.
I got a question for you, Bouncer.
Okay.
NR, this is from Poodles. What's up, Poodles, man? Thanks for hanging out, buddy. What do you think about this, guys? Greek?
Did you hear Nick say, take something and make novel, then plan B mention Vamp? Also, you have noticed Brian Legend bringing the Drip community over to Vulcan. Yeah, we're trying to take and make something that Drip does and make it more novel, better. And that is what we're doing. And Brian's actually going along, and he supports Vamp, and he supports all this stuff. And actually, that was kind of when I saw the Drip pairing, it made sense, kind of bring that community over. But it's also a struggling community that needs something, so it makes sense for all involved. So to bring them over.
Yeah, I own a little Drip, not a lot. I mean, I got in at the high, and then when it dropped, I think. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. So.
Yeah, man. All right, I'm getting ready to sign off, but let me grab this one real quick.
Right.
And our Legend, how is that project? You purchased the super node, and doing, I think it was Kyoto. So yeah, I do own a master node for Kyoto. They are in testnet actually right now. The blockchain is scheduled to launch at the end of June, the last day of June. Actually, I think it's June 30th, I believe.
How was your
good stuff going on with that, baby?
Stuff. Yeah, man. Good
How's
stuff.
your Guam bank account going? Still work good?
What's that?
Your Guam bank account?
Oh, it's Lao.
Wow. Sorry. Well, how's it still going?
Perfect, man. Like I would, and that is that's the Ultimo account. I would I highly recommend that to anyone looking to
offshore, right?
Off ramp their crypto. And
I just got my passport renewed and my driver's license.
Man.
Now I can get verified.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely recommend that. Hands down. It's awesome. I've used it to take money out of the ATM. I've bought freaking DoorDash. I've bought shit over the internet. I've bought shit in person. I bought gas with it. I mean, it's really just
bought
a
weed.
debit card, man. Nah, I use cash for that, brother. And honestly, I don't smoke, man. That's not my thing. I don't smoke.
Not my thing either.
I might do some edibles every once in a while. Maybe take some mushrooms or something.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
I can't do any of that stuff.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, well, you can. A piece of a mushroom isn't as exciting as a whole mushroom. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So yeah.
You need the whole thing, man.
Well, now you can get like chocolate bars infused with mushrooms, like 4 grams of mushrooms, and stuff like that. Take a piece, you microdose, stuff like that. Good stuff. But yeah, highly recommend the Ultimo Pay. And guys, Kyoto's gonna launch somewhere around the 30-cent range. I would anticipate sometime by September, you're going to see it well into the dollars. And right now you can get it OTC for 20 cents, maybe even below 20 cents. So you're automatically in the positive. They're in a great space in the carbon credit space. If you're not sure what carbon credits are, Google it. The whole world is going to go towards carbon credits, and they're kind of taking that real world problem and that real world asset, which is a carbon credit, and putting it to blockchain. I mean, it's kind of what the future is going to be. So I would highly suggest it. Not to mention my master node is going to make money off of it. So help a brother out.
That's good.
I guess so.
Yeah. Yeah. Help a brother out. So
master.
Yeah.
Look at this guy.
Anyway, I do have to jump off here, guys. I got a flight in the morning.
Jump off as well.
Yeah. I got a flight in the morning. My wife's going to kick my ass if I stay on here any longer.
That's right, man. He's going on vacation again. It's all good.
What a life, huh?
What a life.
Nah, man. Not vacation, just traveling, So
yeah. All right. Yeah, that's cool. We've been going at this for 3.5 hours, guys. We really appreciate everybody joining us. We had a great show tonight. We didn't get to talk about all the things I want to talk about, but it's all good. It's next time. And
we didn't talk about any of that.
Any of that shit, yeah. The moon, no. But I had some other. I actually want to talk about.
That's flat.
We can talk about that, but definitely want to talk about guns, what's going on in the gun community. But
Yeah.
we'll probably do something before Monday for sure.
We can do it
it's all-
Sunday.
Yeah,
do it
absolutely. We'll
Sunday.
see you guys on Chris's live on Sunday. We'll catch up then, guys. But with that being said, guys, I really appreciate everybody being here. And I guess I'll finish it off, right? You know, I typically have to, right? Because Prado's not
brother.
here.
Yeah.
But you know, it was a great live. I really appreciate Plan B and the AMA with Nick, him being on here and answering some questions. He had some tough questions too, right? And he answered them. So I'm happy about all that. We'll see you guys on the blockchain as always.